From Irwin-Belk Stadium in Wingate, North Carolina, UNCP Braves football is live. Today, it's Dom Sampson and the 1-4 Braves facing off against James Whitaker and the 4-0 Bulldogs of Wingate University for Week 5 of the 2017 season. Good evening and welcome into the UNCP Sports Network. I'm Matt Sabatis. I thank you, as always, for joining me on this fine Saturday afternoon. A little bit of cloud coverage on our way into the stadium today, but as I speak, it's starting to clear up and we're seeing a little bit of the blue sky behind some of those gloomy clouds. Looking at last week's game, though, the Braves have had a little bit of gloom clouds carrying over from their Week 4 loss against Newberry, or Week 5 loss, rather, against Newberry, 28-6. The Braves committed a turnover on their first play from scrimmage. It clearly threw the mentality out of whack early on. They weren't able to recover, being held under 100 yards rushing for the second straight game. This is the first 3-game losing streak the Braves have been on since losing 7 in a row during the 2-8 2014 season, which, as a matter of fact, included a loss on this very same field. Obviously, the Braves don't want to replicate that season, so hopefully they can get a turnaround here today. For Wingate, one of only 2 teams in the South Athletic Conference left undefeated in conference play. Limestone, surprisingly enough, the Saints in their first SAC season, also the other team. Only SAC team, however, undefeated overall. Limestone has been dealt a single loss this year. This game could lead to Wingate hitting their stride, potentially asserting themselves in the SAC after finishing second last year and just missing the NCAA playoffs from Newberry. Last week for Wingate, they had the week off. It was their bye week. The week before that, though, Week 4, a 22-14 W at Lenore-Rhine on the road against the Bears. James Whitaker went 13 for 19 through the air, 219 yards, connecting on his only touchdown pass to Malik Bledsoe with 1:10 left in the first half, and that put Wingate up for good. But Freddie McCullum was the hero of the day, connected on a career-high 3 field goals, one from 19 yards, one from 21, and the last from 31 yards out. The Bulldogs defense held the Bears to only 84 total rushing yards, but they held the Braves to a much more minuscule number the last time these two teams met. Week 4 of 2014, it was a 21-3 game in favor of Wingate here at Irwin-Belk Stadium, but the Braves could not muster anything. They were held to only 120 yards of total offense and only 25 yards on the ground. The Braves couldn't garner momentum even after scoring first and forcing 4 turnovers in the game. Wingate was led by their all-conference quarterback, Kyle Johnson, who went 19 for 29 through the air, had 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. The current number 1 running back for the Bulldogs, Lawrence Pittman, he was a young true freshman at the time, had 20 yards on 9 carries late in the game. The start to a pretty storied career here at Wingate University. He had nearly as many yards as the entire Braves team in his short time. We'll talk about Pittman and some of the other players to watch in just a few seconds. We're going to step aside right now. When we come back, we've got your quarterback matchup. We'll talk with head coach Shane Richardson down the line. And don't forget, we've got Braves football coming up in just a few minutes right here on the UNCP Sports Network. Just got done with a rendition of the national anthem as the Wingate band now takes on the school alma mater song. We're just about 13 minutes away from kickoff here at Belk Stadium between the Braves and the Wingate Bulldogs. Players to watch in today's matchup are going to be a little interesting because the Braves offense, they haven't had too many people of note, so I'm going to say you need to keep an eye out for JoJo Span. He caught the Braves' lone touchdown last week, but that reception was his first positive yardage offensively since week 2. He's got to heat back up, and he can do so at the drop of the hat. We've seen it before, so keep an eye out for him today. Defensively, I'm not going to point out a singular person, but I'm going to point out the number 21. The Braves defense needs to buckle down this week. Over the last 2 seasons, the Braves are 4-6 when allowing 21 points or more. And this is a pretty high-powered offense that Wingate can bring to the table, led offensively by Lawrence Pittman. Their leading running back is the key player to watch. Only 2 games this year with less than 100 all-purpose yards. This guy packs a punch. Leads the team with 5 total touchdowns, all on the ground, and he's coming off of a school record-setting 2016. There's a lot to talk about with this kid. You'll hear his name a lot. Defensively for Wingate, you want to watch Robbie Wallace. He wasn't a name touted at the beginning of the season, but this linebacker leads the team in tackles over the last 2 games, and at 6 foot, 230 pounds, he's one of the biggest in the linebacking core. Watch for him to put pressure on the offensive line, and watch for him to put pressure on Dom Sampson. Speaking of the man himself, the redshirt freshman out of Cary, North Carolina, is your starting quarterback today, and he needs a turnaround for the Braves. He's got a 51% completion rate with 77 interceptions over the last 3 games. If he threw 70 interceptions, I'd be surprised if he was the starter, but I digress. Over the last 3 games compared to 61% completion rate with 0 interceptions in his first 2 games. He had a quick turnaround into his current dip. He can easily turn it right back around with a big game here on the road. James Whitaker, the sophomore out of Roswell, Georgia, will be leading the way for Wingate and the Bulldogs. The last 2 games for Whitaker, a 63% completion rate, 362 yards through both of the games, 3 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. As a sophomore, he doesn't have much of a scrambling ability, not many rushing yards, but he's only been sacked 4 times this season. He's behind a very experienced offensive line that features 2 sophomores, 2 juniors, and a senior. We'll get you the full starting lineups later, closer to kickoff, but those are the 2 quarterbacks that are going to be manning their respective offenses in today's game. We're about 10 minutes away from kickoff between Wingate and your UNCP Braves. We'll step aside again here on the UNCP Braves pregame show on the UNCP Sports Network. When we come back, we hear from the head coach. Shane Richardson is our guest, right up next on the UNCP Sports Network. We keep things rolling on the Braves pregame show. We're currently joined by football head coach Shane Richardson. Coach, first off, how'd this week of practice go? What did you see the most improvements in from your team?
Well, I think we focused on a couple of things, and we wanted to see really some more effort out of our guys on an every play basis. Out of all 11 guys that were going to be on the field, we wanted to make sure that the enthusiasm was high. There's some things that we talk about in our identity, and effort, enthusiasm. We want to go out there and play with a grittiness and a toughness, and I think some of that is just getting our mentality back to a place where we can try to focus on that. And so on top of all the X's and O's and the fundamentals and techniques and the things that we're trying to coach up and get better on, we got to make sure that the mentality is right and we're still playing to our identity. And so I think they've embraced that this week.
Now you bring up effort and mentality. I was going to ask this a little later, but since you bring it up, your team has yet to force a turnover in the past couple of games. Do you think that has something to do with it? Have you been focusing on some of the intensity that your defense is bringing to the table?
Yeah, well, I think partly to do with that is we've got to make sure guys are playing confident and fast. Yep. And this week on defense, that's been something that we've tried to emphasize, and making sure that guys are extremely in tune to their jobs and executing their responsibilities. And I think once you're able to do that, then some of those turnovers and takeaways are going to be able to be forced, and you're going to be able to have more ball awareness and apply pressure to the football a lot more. And so, I think guys are aware of that, and they'll do a better job of that as we move forward.
Now, talking about Wingate, one of the best teams in the country when it comes to overall rushing game on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Which side of the ball are you most confident in your team in stopping the run that Wingate can bring to the table?
Well, I think, both sides of the ball. We've looked at, that is the number one stat that we look at in our keys to winning and keys to success on Saturdays. On both sides of the ball, we've got to be able to run the ball. We've got to be able to stop the run. And, the last couple of weeks, we haven't done either one on either side. And so, honestly, I think both sides are equally as opportunistic and hungry to be able to do their part. And it's just going to be a matter of how we match up and kind of, what they're able to do against us, and to see how well we go out there and execute with really just an intensity and a competitive spirit. And I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Well, Coach, you bring up your keys to the game. That's going to be our next segment. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
We'll be right back here on the UNCP Sports Network. Back on the UNCP Sports Network, we keep the pregame show rolling. Our last segment before we can get ready for kickoff. Keys to the game, the Braves need to be resilient on the ground, the rushing game. As I said earlier, the Braves held to under 100 yards rushing over the last two games, and Wingate has only allowed more than 100 yards rushing twice this year. This game will be decided on the ground. Key number two, the defense. They need to follow the ball, even if it takes an extra half second. That option play that Newberry ran last week drew portions of the defense off ball, led to multitude of big gains for the Wolves, and it led to a couple touchdowns as well. Even if it takes an extra second, if you're going for the tackle, you need to make sure you find the ball carrier. Last but not least, special teams. They need to excel in this game. They've had a couple of unfortunate dips. Over the last 3 games, opponents are averaging nearly 30 yards on kick returns and just under 10 yards on punt returns. You cannot average any yards on punt returns this year. Wingate, one of the best in the country. Average starting field position of Braves opponents over the last 2 games, the own 39-yard line. That means that Braves opponents only need to go 60 yards to score a touchdown on average over the last 2 games, and only about 30 or 40 yards to get into field goal range. The defense isn't always able to make that work for them. That's today's keys to the game. We're going to take one final break. When we come back, we've got the coin toss and your kickoff. All that and more up next here on the UNCP Sports Network. Back on the UNCP Sports Network, coin toss just underway. The Braves won. They deferred to the second half, and Wingate elected to receive the opening kickoff. So the Braves will receive to start the second half. Your starting line for both sides. Left to right on the front line for Wingate, Austin May, Andrew Strickland, Daniel Owens, Connor Baronius, and Caleb Cantrell. The tight end is Jake Jensen. The receivers, Malik Bledsoe, B.J. Muckelveen, and J.T. Stokes. The running backs, Lawrence Pittman and Mason Flint, while the QB is Mr. James Whitaker. The UNCP Braves defense, Alpha Lamine, Cyrus Stomback, Nathan London, and T.Y. Hinton on the front line. Albert Wright, Chris Plotch, Cameron Williams are your linebackers. The corners, Sean Everett and Trayvon Gibson, while the safeties are Bekembe Kearney and Josh Mann. Offensively, for the Braves, you've got your wide receivers, Quay Thread, Jalen Nixon, and JoJo Spann. The front line from left to right, Dylan Best, Jared Johnson, Timon McMillan, Cameron Hodges, and Gage Baldwin. Your backs are Miles Grant and Robert Beecham, while your QB is the redshirt freshman, Mr. Dom Sampson. The Wingate defense on the front line, Lewis Rogers, Jordan Anderson, Tavita Maffey, and Cal Hanford. The linebackers are Zach Singleton, Robbie Wallace, and Cam Johnson. The corners are Matthew Ellis White and Tim Longmire. The safeties, Josh Shelton and Joe Kelly. The teams coming out onto the field now. The Braves in their road white jerseys, white pants, black numbering, UNC Pembroke over top with the black helmet, white stripe down the center with the Brave head on the side. The Wingate Bulldogs just coming out of the tunnel of their field house right now. They're in their blue home jerseys, blue pants, gold sleeves, gold numbering with white trim with the looks to be Wingate on top of the numbering, blue helmets, gold stripe down the middle with a golden W on the side. Braves kickoff unit coming onto the field now as Wingate is setting up their return team to face the opposite end. Braves will be kicking the ball from right to left. Wingate will be returning from left to right. Beautiful day as the clouds clear here at Irwin Belk Stadium, and we're just about set for Week 6 football. Braves and Wingate ready to go. It'll be Nate Williams to kick it off. He's getting the ball set from the head referee, David Quilliams, but Wingate is taking their time, fresh out of the gate. Understandable, no concerns, no rush as of yet, but the Braves are anxious. They're ready to go. A short drive, only about an hour and a half from Pembroke, North Carolina, up here to Wingate, just across the road. Out come the Bulldogs now. Back to return are Dom McNeil and Ronnie Procpio. They're lined up at the 10-yard line, and it looks to be the 5-yard line, respectively. As I said, a little bit of a mist covering the windows here at the press box due to the rainy conditions we've seen earlier, but nothing too concerning as Williams is set to go now. Ball lined up at the 35 between the two hash marks. He has his line set. He has his arm raised. He's ready to go from right to left. We're underway. End over end. The ball is in the air. Backing up on it is Procopio. He doesn't pick it up, but instead it's received at the 20-yard line and taken ahead 5 yards before the Braves knock it down. It'll only be a return of about 10 with the extra fall. Looks to be the return was made by Jay Hood, the sophomore, taking an extra step back. But it'll be 1st and 10 for Wingate and the Bulldogs at their own 30-yard line. Braves defense out onto the field now, and out comes James Whitaker, the sophomore quarterback out of Roswell, Georgia. He's going to be manning the offense for this first series. Braves defense setting up now as Whitaker comes out onto the field. He's got an empty backfield to start with triplets on the near side. One receiver, or make it 2 receivers on the far side, rather. The tight end is Jake Jensen. Calling for it, out of the hands almost. Whitaker recovers, fires downfield. It's caught onto the far side, picked up by B.J. Muckelveen. He's wrapped up and brought down after about an 11-yard gain. Slides across midfield. On the near side, doesn't get to the 50 rather, but they'll move the chains after a gain of 11. Muckelveen, one of the best players on this team, averaging 57 offensive yards over his last 2 games, compared to 82 yards over the first 2. In the shotgun with now Lawrence Pittman, doesn't give it to him, but instead looks for him on a screen, tipped and nearly picked off by the Braves, but J.T. Stokes makes the reception and swings out to the near side for a gain of about 6. He's 2 yards shy of midfield, so it'll be 2nd down with about 4 to go for Wingate. They're moving quickly. 14:23 left to go here in a scoreless first quarter. Braves and the Wingate Bulldogs. Braves trying to break a 3-game losing streak. Wingate trying to keep their undefeated season alive. Little high snap for Whitaker, fakes that pass, gives it on the near side, this time to Pittman once again. In a short fight, Pittman picking up about 3 yards. Will it be enough for the first down, though, as he makes it across midfield? We've got a whistle from our head referee. They're not going to measure this, are they? No, they're just going to move the chains. Took a little extra time from the side judge, Jason Inks, but we're good to go. 1st and 10 now in Braves territory at their own 48 to be precise. Scoreless first quarter, only 2 minutes, or actually make it a minute and a half gone. Pittman in the shotgun. Wide receiver in motion. Whitaker claps, chest high, give to Pittman on the near side. He fights through with an open hole. Makes an opening through the linebacking core and finally gets dragged down after a gain of about 6. Pittman has the legs to do these kinds of things. Colton Weeks and Jordan Howard contributing on the tackle there. Pittman, 2 games this year with over 100 all-purpose yards. Leads the team with 372 yards total. 5 touchdowns leads the team. Record-setting 2016. There's too many to count, at least in this one little blurb. We'll tell you more about it later as he takes another give up the gut, but he's met quickly by the defensive line after only gaining 1 yard. The senior out of Charlotte, North Carolina, only 6 foot, 225 pounds. But boy, oh boy, can he get work done on the ground.
A gain of 1, 3rd and 2 for Wingate.
3rd and 2 after the run, only a gain of 1. Scoreless first quarter. Slow huddle now for Wingate. They want to take their time, but 20 seconds are on the play clock. They've yet to come out of it. They clap, they're set. Under center is Whitaker, 2 men behind him. 4-man front, the linebackers show the blitz. Delayed handoff given to Pittman. He fights to the line. Defensive line swallows him. Maybe a yard gain. Looks like they sniffed that one out on the under center. And that might not move the chains. It all depends on what we have. The head referee, David Quilliam, says no, it'll be 4th down. Big chance here for the Braves to get a defensive stop. Not one to force a lot of turnovers on downs. Opponents 6 for 24 last year, but 4 for 9 already this year against the Braves defensive line. Same formation with Whitaker under center. 4th and 1. He drops back, gives it to Pittman again, bounces off the far side, hit in the backfield. Tajay Lyles rips him down. The ball comes loose, but they whistle the play dead from forward progress being stopped. It's a turnover on downs either way, and the Braves defense makes their presence known early. First quarter with only 3 minutes gone. Make it 2 minutes gone, as a matter of fact. Or I can't do math today. What's wrong with me? 11:54 left to go in the first quarter. That means there's 3 minutes gone. We're still scoreless as they look to measure this one. As a matter of fact, neither team has went to the sidelines yet. The Braves were already about ready to swap. The Bulldogs offense is near the sidelines, but James Whitaker is standing in front of the ball talking with the head referee, David Quilliams. Looks like we might have an official measure and a spot coming out. We do. Forward progress was definitely stopped well behind the line of scrimmage, but that's when the Braves pushed back Pittman. Let's see what the chains have to say. Pittman's short. Braves force the turnover on downs. It's 1st and 10 UNCP at their own 39-yard line. A fantastic showing to start this matchup. Out comes the offense now, led by Mr. Dom Sampson. Or no, as a matter of fact, that's Austin Foley. Third string quarterback coming into today behind Sampson and Connor Stowe. Foley will see the first snap. He's 5 yards back, and the first give is to Josh Sheridan off the near side guard. He fights through for 3 extra yards, and there's a massive pile while Sheridan is still on his feet. They whistle the play dead for forward momentum. After maybe about 3 yards, I'd like to say, gets across the 40-yard line. Make it 2nd and 7 at the 42. Incredible. Austin Foley, your starting quarterback today. The third redshirt freshman on this squadron. Lumberton, North Carolina, his hometown, just a few minutes down the road from Pembroke. Unfortunately, doesn't get his first start in front of his home crowd and potentially his family. Gets it here on the road in Wingate. Same formation in the gun. Pumps to the far side, but Foley is taking it himself. He's got some yardage across the 40 into the 45. Between the numbers, he's shoved out of bounds after about a 7-yard gain. Will it be enough for the first down? We'll have to see. Tackle on the play made by Kenyon Davis, the cornerback out of Tallahassee, Florida. Will they move the chains? They do. Big gain from Foley, first running yards of his career, and the Braves really could use that from their quarterback position. Dom Sampson, the only Brave quarterback compared to Connor Stowe with rushing yards, and he only had 59 of them. Braves taking their time, looking to the sideline for a new play call. We're coming up on 5 minutes gone in this scoreless first quarter. Foley calls the play to his offensive line. In the shotgun with Sheridan to his right side. A 4-man front incoming from the Bulldogs. A man in motion, that's Quay 3. Dropping back is Foley, looking deep downfield. Airs it between the numbers. JoJo Spann doesn't have a chance. And it's incomplete. Out of bounds to the sidelines. So that'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Braves. Just about a yard shy of midfield. Going from right to left here at Irwin Belk Stadium on what's becoming lovelier and lovelier Saturday afternoon will become Saturday evening in just a few minutes, as we had a flag on the field. And it was hands to the face from Wingate. First penalty of the day goes in favor of UNCP. 15 yards being charged to Tim Longmire, the senior out of Tallahassee, Florida. Braves will take that any day of the week. It'll be 1st and 10 as they now are in Wingate territory at the Bulldogs' own 36-yard line. Foley claps, has it, doesn't drop back. It's a delayed handoff to Sheridan. He's met in the backfield and dropped immediately. Zach Singleton, the senior out of Germantown, North Carolina, with the drop. 24th tackle on the year for the senior linebacker. He missed 2015 due to injury, Singleton did, but he is a great football mind. Spent that year working with the team as a special student assistant coach. They don't get too many of those here at Wingate, but Singleton had the mind to pull it off. Making a loss of about 6, so 2nd and 16. We're still scoreless, only 5 minutes gone in this opening quarter. 3-step drop on the shotgun snap and a mishandled route from JoJo Spann as Foley throws it away. As I mentioned, we had some rain and some gloomy weather coming in. Looked to be Spann might have lost his footing on that. That's something he really could have used. Spann only 7 receptions this year. I brought it up in the pregame. You got to watch him. Hopefully he can get targeted more after receiving the only Braves touchdown last week. He needs some more positive yardage. Sheridan off, Miles Grant is on. It's 3rd and 16, 9:49 left to go in a scoreless first quarter. 2 receivers split on either side. A 4-man front incoming from the Bulldogs defense. Foley in the gun with Grant to his left side. 4 yards back. Here come the linebackers. Foley has the snap with a 3-step drop. Pocket collapses. He's hit. He tries to escape, and he's dropped. First sack of the day for Wingate and the Bulldogs, brought on by Ian Bergman, the senior out of Wilmington, North Carolina, his first of the year. Helped out by Cal Hanford. That'll be his first full sack. The sophomore out of New Bern, North Carolina, And the Braves, after a fantastic defensive stop on the first drive of the game, they have to punt it away on 4th and 15, or 4th and 20, pardon me. Out comes Isaac Parks. Back to return, Adam Riley and B.J. Muckelveen, some of the deadliest in the country, but the snap is over Parks' head. He slides on it inside the Braves' 15-yard line. He's touched there, and it will be a turnover on downs. The Bulldogs will start in the Braves' red zone. We brought it up in the pregame. Special teams needs to excel. How the average starting field position of opponents over the last 2 games has been their own 39-yard line. It's been because of plays like this. Special teams miscues allowing for fantastic starting field position for opposing offenses. The defense can only do so much. 9:08 left to go here in the first quarter. We're still scoreless, but all of a sudden, we've got a threatening knock on the door from Wingate. Whitaker in the gun, Pittman to his backside. In motion is the tight end, Jake Jensen. The give, Pittman near side, fighting off tackle. He's hit. He's brought down after a short gain. Lucas Brim the stop, the junior out of Bulls Creek, North Carolina, transferring from Winston-Salem State from a couple of years ago. 8:55 left to go here in this first quarter. Making a gain of about 6 inside the 10 now. 2nd and 5. As a matter of fact, 8:46 left to go. They take out Pittman. They bring in Blake Hayes, the number 2 running back, and he's got just as much punch. The give is to him on the far side. He bumps off tackle, but the defensive line surrounds and pulls him down. Tackle again by Brim. Hayes, one of the best players on this team, sans Pittman, didn't play last week against Lenore Rhine, but last year he was one of the best. Led the team in overall carries with 214. Led the team in overall yards with 1,109. And his 14 touchdowns last year were the 3rd most by a single player in school history. 3rd and 5 after the drop. We've got whistles and a timeout, it seems. There was plenty of time left to go on the play clock. But Wingate takes the timeout either way. 8:05 left to go here in this first quarter. We're scoreless, but the Bulldogs are threatening. We'll take a short break and step aside. When we come back, we've got more football right here on the UNCP Sports Network. Back in the UNCP Sports Network, Matt Sabanis with you. We've got a scoreless first quarter here at Irwin Belk Stadium between the Braves and the Bulldogs. And before we get started out of this timeout, a quick word from our sponsor. Ever wonder why Lumberton Chevy Buick Cadillac GMC has such a long name? One reason, the variety of tremendous cars and trucks they offer. You can see for yourself. They're located next to Lumberton High School. That's Lumberton Chevy Buick Cadillac and GMC. Back out on the field now are the Wingate Bulldogs. It's an empty backfield for James Whitaker. 3 receivers on the far side, 1 on the near. On this 3rd and 5, they won't be running. Whitaker looking straight for the end zone, an opening, and a touchdown. Caught by Jay Hood, his 3rd of the year. Dead center, ran a post route. Braves got caught. 6-0, Wingate on top. 7:58 left to go here in the first quarter. Defensive secondary for the Braves has been struggling a lot of times when it comes to some of these passing touchdowns. Passing defense overall for the Braves, 171 yards per game allowed. That is down from last year's 214 yards, but it's still a number that head coach Shane Richardson would like to see go lower. Into attempt the PAT, Freddie McCullum. The snap is back, the ball is down, the kick is up, and the kick is good. 7:58 left to go in this first quarter. Braves trail 7-0. Folks, Adidas is the official apparel sponsor for all 16 of UNC Pembroke's athletic varsity teams. Adidas provides some of the most innovative products in the shoe and apparel industry and is one of the most recognizable brands worldwide. We'd like to thank Adidas for all of its support in offering UNC Pembroke the best for our student athletes.
Wingate scored on 3 plays, 14 yards in a minute 10.
That drive not working out much for the Braves as it was only 3 plays, 14 yards in a minute and 10 seconds. Started on a turnover on downs on a muffed punt snap to Isaac Parks. The long snapper Alex Richardson went a little high with it. Parks had to scramble to recover but was only able to fall on it inside his own 15. And that's just kind of been the story of Braves special teams over the last few weeks. We've seen fumbles on kick returns. We've seen misplayed snaps. We've seen just rough returns in general. The Braves special teams could use some of the most improvement out of all 3 facets of their play. Either way, the kick returners are out there now. JoJo Spann and Devin Jones lined up at the Braves' 5-yard line as McCollum is ready to go. Has the ball lined up where he likes it on the far hash of the 35-yard line, kicking from left to right. He's got his steps ready. 7-0 with 8 minutes left to go here in this first quarter. The Braves trail. They'll try to fight back and get themselves on the board once we get this kickoff underway. McCollum on his way, end over end, the ball in the air. It's a low one, but plenty distant. Picked up by Spann, a yard deep into his own end zone, and he's taking it between the hash marks across the 15. Tries to spin a man, but gets pulled down across the 15 to about the 17 between the hash marks. Tackle on the play made that time by Wingate's Jabari Foster, the sophomore defensive back. Make it 1st and 10 for the Braves at their own 18. And after Austin Foley starting the first series for the Braves, they re-track and bring out Dom Sampson. Foley had a decent series. That much can be said. Did go 0 for 2 passing-wise, but had some good time in the pocket, I'd like to say, at least, with the delayed handoffs. Did get sacked once. This one a quick sweep pass out to Miles Grant, but he's tackled in the backfield for a loss of about 3. The defensive backs for Wingate sniffed that one out without a hesitation. Cam Johnson, the junior out of Durham, North Carolina, the safety, making the stop. Had a season-ending injury last preseason. Didn't get to use his redshirt season, though, for that. He had used it as a freshman, so he just missed out on his sophomore season. The junior, though, making a quality impact on this team. That was his 17th tackle this year. 2nd and now 12 for the Braves. They need to get to their own 28-yard line. Empty backfield for Dom. He has it. It's low, but he's back in the backfield looking for someone. He finds what looks to be Michael Aaron. Or rather, Corey West, one of the first receptions this season for him. Matter of fact, number 2. Quick cut on that, making a gain of about 4. Braves cycling through some receivers now. They bring Miles Grant back out into the field. Shamon Hicks and JoJo Spann on the far side. It's E.J. Williams and Quay Threet, your receivers on the near side. In the shotgun with Grant is Sampson. It's 3rd and 8. Got to get to their own 28. Low snap, Sampson, 2-step drop. Pumps quick to the far side. Has Spann, but it won't be enough. They say he fell inbounds when he made the reception just at the 27. They might even mark it at the 26. We'll just have to see. But I don't think the Braves are going to risk this one. They'll have to bring out Isaac Parks. But if something similar to the last punting unit trip happens, the Braves could find themselves down 13-0. 7-0 now with 6:08 left to go in the first quarter. Parks is lined up at his own 11-yard line to punt this one away. B.J. Muckelveen to return. He's backing up to his own 30. Parks takes a step. He's hit as he goes away with it. It's bobbled and picked up by Wingate at the Braves' 25-yard line. Again, a miscue on special teams, and the Braves will have shallow defense. Floyd Llewellyn with the stop, the fumble recovery, and the Braves' defense can't catch a break. Parks had plenty of time, as he usually does, to get it off. Didn't really move slowly with it, I'm trying to say, but the line crumbled around him, and suddenly the Bulldogs were in the backfield. It'll be 1st and 10 for Wingate at the Braves' 24-yard line. We've got the head referee having a conversation with our field judge, Thomas Hand. And it looks like Hand is just injured. As a matter of fact, he's stretching out his hamstring there. He made a motion almost as if they were going to, say, running into the kicker by kicking out his right leg, but then he goes to attend to his hamstring. So I doubt we got anything serious. Just a fun little miscommunication between us up here in the booth. 7-0 Braves trail with just under 6 minutes left to go here in the first quarter, but after their second straight miscue on the punting squad, Wingate has a chance to put themselves up by 2 touchdowns. In the shotgun is Whitaker. He's got Pittman to his right side, but it's going to be a pass. 5-step drop back, going with a screen, but it's underthrown. Pittman was the intended receiver at the line of scrimmage, but the offensive line had already pushed far, far past it. Pittman was expecting that ball to go a little bit further. 2nd and 10 for the Braves after the failed screen pass. Swapping through a couple of receivers are Wingate. 5:48 left to go in this 7-0 first quarter. Wingate attempting to increase their lead. This one a give up the middle from Pittman. He gets about 2 yards, but the linebacking core is able to stop him. Chris Plotch, Albert Wright contributing on the stop. And the Braves will make it 3rd down. Big chance here, but not necessarily outside of Freddie McCullum's range as long as this season is 34 yards. If they tried it from here, it would be a new career long for the senior. But he's tried it from further before. That much is for sure. In the shotgun on this 3rd and 8. Looking to throw. 3-step drop. Hit in the backfield. Brought down is Whitaker. The Braves get it done. Jordan Howard, his first of the season, the redshirt freshman out of Wilmington, North Carolina, broke a high school record just 2 years ago with 127 tackles in his senior season 2015. Finally picks up his first sack as a Brave and drops the Bulldogs out of field goal range. Fortunately enough, that'll bring in the punter, Christopher Barozes. 6-foot junior out of Sewanee, Georgia, averaging just over 35 yards per punt. Back to return is JoJo Spann, but I doubt we'll see much of an attempt at a return on this one. Such short field position. Bounces first at the 2, it keeps rolling, and the Bulldogs were there in time to stop it at the 1. The Braves didn't have much of a chance to put any contact on that one, and will swap sides. 4:21 left to go here in this first quarter. Braves trail by 7. They've got to get an answer fast. Offense quickly out onto the field. They have another official conversation about what the spot is going to be on this one, but definitely at the 1. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Braves. They'll have to march the length of the field to try and tie this one up. 4:21 left to go in the first quarter. So they've still got plenty of time to do so, but from the past few games on this 3-game losing streak, time can be of the essence for UNCP. Play clock is ticking. 15 seconds left on it. 4:21 left in this first quarter. Sampson, once again, your quarterback. Miles Grant, the running back. Under center is Sampson, in his own end zone. Calls for it, doesn't have it. He's going to QB sneak it on this first play. Looks like Wingate will try and bring the house and force a safety, but Sampson picks up a yard to make it 2nd and 9. Understandable play from Wingate on a setup like this. You got 1st and 10 to your own 1-yard line and a quarterback behind a young and somewhat inexperienced offensive line. You want to try and pull in those 2 free points in the extra possession. I don't think Dom Sampson is one to go lightly on a series like this. 3:53 left to go in the first quarter. Swapping through a few receivers of the Braves. On to the other side goes Aaron Whitaker and Jalen Nixon. 2 receivers on the far, 1 on the near. Nixon alone on the near side. Sampson, give. Miles Grant off tackle. He's hit after a gain of about 2, and a hard one at that. Tackle on the play made that time by Robbie Wallace, the sophomore I brought up in pregame out of Covington, Georgia. 31st tackle this year, 19th in his last 3 games. 3:19, clock continues to tick on this first quarter of play. Braves only trail by 7. But it's been a while since they've done much. Ball lined up on the near hash. It's 3rd and 8 on the Braves 3. Sampson calls, hard count doesn't take. This one a give on the far side to Miles Grant. Tries to truck a defender and maybe gets an extra yard pushing the legs, but he can only pick up about 3 total. That's going to be nowhere near enough for that first down, and the Braves will have to bring out Isaac Parks once again on this 4th and 4. Braves could really use a quality drive when opponents score first this season. The Braves are winless. They've only scored first in 1 game this year, and that was against Elizabeth City, their lone win of the season. Don't want that stat to continue in the same trend. Parks, 2 yards shy of the back of his own end zone. McElveen, ready to go. Just across midfield. The Bulldogs let him get this one away. McElveen fights for it with his own man, picked up this time by Adam Riley II, one of the other punt returners on this team, and he heads to the near side between the numbers, picks up about 10 yards before the Braves drag him down. McElveen and Riley, 2 best punt returners in the nation. Wingate as a team averages just under 32 yards per punt return. That's number 1 by a margin of about 5 yards against every other team in Division II. Riley's 19.2 yards last year on his punt returns, school record. Special teams is night and day between these 2 teams throughout today's game. 1st and 10. Braves own 35-yard line. This one to give to Pittman on the near side, or no, that's Blake Hayes. The senior picks up about 4 yards off the near side guard before he's hit from the side and brought down by Donovan Wirt. Wirt, the all-conference track and field star back in high school, but the redshirt freshman out of Rayford, North Carolina, has been making his presence known for the Braves in the past few days. Had a big sack in the Elizabeth City State game, another sack last week against Newberry, and makes a big stop there. 2 tight ends in motion now for Wingate, 2nd and 8. Now a wide receiver in motion. This one faking the jet sweep, a give on the far side to Blake Hayes. But the Braves defense sniffed that one out. That's what I brought up in our key to the game following the ball. That jet sweep got the Braves multiple times. It actually led to a touchdown last week against Newberry, faking that jet sweep and handing it off to the running back. The option didn't work that time. The Braves sniffed it out. 1 minute left to go here in this first quarter. The Braves still trail by 7, but it's 3rd and 6 for Wingate at the Braves' 31-yard line. They have another chance at a big defensive stop here. 2 tight ends in motion once again. That's Jensen and Flint. Whitaker calls, has it. There was some motion, no flags. As it goes downfield, Whitaker can't find his man. Malik Bledsoe, the intended receiver. There was contact at the fact, but no flag from just about anyone on the field. That'll bring up 4th down. James Whitaker is signaling that he should have gotten something. Talking with head referee David Quilliams, he's saying something should have been thrown. Maybe an offsides towards the Braves or a PI, but either way, play clock is restarted. 48 seconds after the incompletion here in this first quarter. We've got 19 seconds before this play needs to get off. It's 4th and 6, and Wingate is electing to go for it. I understand why in this sort of territory. Whitaker claps, has it, 3-step drop, looking up the middle. Underthrown behind B.J. McElveen. A little bit of good coverage on the play from Sean Everett. He's been looking for his 3rd interception this year since picking one up against Catawba, but either way, it's a good defensive stop for the Braves and a turnover on downs. It seemed to be that Wingate maybe rushed that drive a little bit. The Braves didn't necessarily need to do too much. Either way, they come away with the turnover on downs and what will most likely be possession of the ball going into the second quarter. 43 seconds left to go here in this first quarter as the Braves trail 7-0. Matt Sabatis here with you on the UNCP Sports Network on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, sun beginning to set. I appreciate you, as always, for joining me. Sampson, 3-step drop, fakes the give on the near side. Sheridan, he rolls out and looks deep downfield. Quay 3 can't get it. There's a flag, could be PI on the far sideline across midfield. Double coverage that 3 was having a fight through. Looks to be he was covered by Joe Kelly and Samuel Hedda. Kelly, no relation to Red Sox pitcher Joe Kelly. Boy, would that be cool, though. We'll be 2nd and 10 after the incompletion, but we still have yet to see what this official call is. Here's David Quilliams.
Defense, number 3. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, I say PI, and that's my mistake. Matthew Ellis-White with the holding call. The redshirt freshman out of Stone Mountain, Georgia. Historic city in that state. 1st and 10 from the Braves now 41-yard line. Clock will stop. 35 seconds left in this first quarter. Braves don't really need to hurry themselves up by any sort of means. Time of possession has been a big issue for the Braves offensively and defensively. Over the last 5 games, first 5 weeks of the season, the Braves have only been averaging just under 28 yards of offense on the field, or 28 minutes of offense on the field, I should say. This one to give on the near side to Sheridan, off guard. He spots through to the defenders, and he has an opening across to the 45, to the 35, and he's finally brought down. The quarterback saw that play develop, and they collapsed on him. Matthew Ellis White with the tackle, and another athletic, bouncy play from Josh Sheridan to put the Braves in Bulldog territory for the first time today. Make it the second time today, as a matter of fact, but the first time by virtue of a Braves offensive play. The first time was on the first Braves drive. They were gifted a penalty. As the clock continues to tick on this first quarter, we'll see if they get a play in with 3 seconds left. Sampson claps. He has it. 3-step drop back. He's looking down, but the pocket collapses. He throws it to Span. Span elevates, but can't make the play. He went one-on-one with Kenyon Davis, but Span just did not have the height at only 5'11". That brings us to the end of the first quarter. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Braves when we return at the Wingate 34-yard line. This is UNCP football on the UNCP Sports Network. Back on the UNCP Sports Network, we flipped sides now at the start of the second quarter. Braves going from left to right as they trail 7-0. A fresh 15 on the clock as Dom Sampson and the offense are back to work. It's 1st and 10 from the Wingate 34-yard line as the Braves try to put themselves on the board. Matt Sabanas with you from Irwin Belk Stadium. I thank you, as always, for joining me. The Braves taking their time, waiting for the official let's go from our head referee, David Quilliams. And now we've got Sampson ready to go. Puts Quay Threed in motion as a slot now. The give on the far side to Quadron Williams. Picks up about 4 yards before the linebackers sniff the play out and bring the man down. Tackle on the play made by Kendrick Hicks, the true freshman out of Rock Hill, South Carolina. Make it number 9 on the season for number 46. 3rd down now for the Braves, and a big gain incoming necessary. Going to be 8 yards to try and get to the 24-yard line. Not really in field goal range as of yet for Alex Alvarado. Could be. His longest is 46, but he would benefit from a couple of more. This one to give on the near side to Josh Sheridan, and it's not going to be enough. Met behind the line of scrimmage, brought down on a loss of 1. Tackle made that time by Ontrell Mack. Led the team in tackles for loss, and sacks a couple of years ago, but he's missed the last 2 years due to injury. He was only able to use, obviously, 1 medical redshirt season. But the senior is starting to make his presence known on this team once again. Out of Irmo, South Carolina, forces a big stop for Wingate and forces the Braves to go for it on this 4th and 9. 33-yard line, and that's not really an attempt you can give for Alex Alvarado. Braves need to get to the 24. 4-step drop for Sampson. He's pressured. He's hit. He tries to escape. He's rolling. He's dropped. Sack in the backfield at the Braves' own 40-yard line. Lewis Rogers, his 2nd of the year, the redshirt freshman, former South Carolina state champion from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Another turnover on downs. I believe that's already the 3rd on the day from either side. And we're only about a minute and a half gone here in this second quarter. Braves trail 7-0. Shoveling out now is the Wingate offense. And Lawrence Pittman making an appearance once again. Receiver in motion, that's B.J. McElveen from a slot on the near side to himself on the far side. Pittman hitting the backfield as he takes the sweep onto the far side, but he escapes it. Fights ahead for a few more yards, able to make a decent play out of it. Chalk it up to be about 5 total. T.Y. Hinton and Alpha Lamine contributing on the stop for UNCP. Make it 2nd and 7. 7-0 Braves trail. We're coming up on 2 minutes gone here in the first quarter, or first half, I should say.
2nd and 6 for Wingate.
Same formation. 2 receivers on the near side. McElveen alone on the 4. 4 in front incoming from the Braves. This one a fake handoff to Pittman. Going deep downfield. Open is Jake Jensen with open field to the 20. The 15 brought down on a close one. Game-saving tackle from Pregame Carney. But a huge play for Jensen. Wingate in the red zone. Unfortunately, that's what Pregame Carney has been relegated to a lot this season, is making play-saving tackles when things have blown up in the Braves' face. It's going to be 1st and goal at the Braves' 9. They trail 7-0. 12:51 left in the half. Give, near side, Pittman, sweep, has a blocker, but tripped up by the feet and finally brought down after a gain of about 4. Another saving tackle by the Braves, that time made by Amari Bryce Green. 2nd and goal from the 2. Braves defense has been doing excellent throughout this game, but after a big reception like that, 48 yards to Jake Jensen, there's not much more you can do. They line back up. Under center is Whitaker. Jensen in motion. Whitaker has it. Pittman, near side, off the tackle, he's in. Another touchdown for Lawrence Pittman makes it 13-0 in favor of Wingate. 6th on the year for Pittman, trying to follow up an impressive 2016. Had 15 rushing yards, 2nd most out of anyone in program history for Wingate. And those were all on the ground. That record is held by receiving and rushing touchdowns. He got them all on the ground. Here's Freddie McCullum. The snap is back. The ball is down. The kick is up. The kick is good. 14-0. Braves now trail. And we'll have to see if Dom Sampson can turn things around. He's 3 for 4 on the day, only 8 yards through the air. He's been sacked once, hasn't thrown any interceptions, but his targets have been few and far between. Found JoJo Spann and Corey West each apiece, and found Miles Grant once, but Grant was brought down in the backfield on a bubble screen. Spann has 6 yards, West has 4. When UNCP Pembroke, let's start that over, folks. When UNC Pembroke athletes train and compete, Scotland Healthcare System will be part of the team as the official healthcare provider for UNCP athletics. Led by Ortho Carolina Scotland orthopedic physician Dr. Richard Alexander, our specialist will cover every football and men's basketball home game. From practice drills to kickoff and tip-off, Scotland's medical experts will oversee training staff operations. It's one more way Scotland Healthcare is keeping its commitment to be there for the region by delivering closer care that's better by far. Chalk it up as a 4-play, 61-yard drive capped off by Lawrence Pittman's 2-yard rushing touchdown to make it 14-0 in only a minute and a half. Braves need a response, and they'll have a chance here with JoJo Spann and Devin Jones back to return, lined up at their own 5-yard line. McCullum set to go. Ball on the near hash. He'll be kicking from right to left. Wingate lined up. McCullum makes sure. Has his steps, has his hand raised. A slow run up. Now he's on his way. End over end. The ball might be going out of bounds. Bounces first at the 5, and yeah, that's a flag. You don't see that too much. As a matter of fact, it's only the 2nd time this year from Freddie McCullum. 3-sport star back in high school. McCullum played baseball, football, and soccer. Soccer was the only sport he actually played all 4 years throughout high school, though. Senior out of Sanford, North Carolina. Big key to this special teams unit, but just an unfortunate mistake for McCullum on that one. So the Braves catch a break. Good starting field position for them. Dom Sampson will come out once again. He's got Josh Sheridan. It's a bit of a gloomy Saturday as the sun is starting to set, and there was a little drizzle coming into today's game, but the fans have turned out in bold on both sides of the field. UNCP only about an hour and a half away. They chartered a bus for this game. Dom Sampson, a quick snap and a quick pass on the near side to JoJo Span. It's complete and should be enough to move the chains depending on the official spot. It's at least 9 yards across to the 45. He gets shoved out of bounds on a short gain, but Tim Longmire was there to make it. They'll say it's 2nd and 1. Longmire got there in time. 1-4 on the season are the Braves. They're trying to break a 3-game losing streak, and I said it in pregame, JoJo Span will be the guy to find if that's going to be the case. He only had 1 positive offensive gain in the past 3 games, and that was the touchdown last week against Newberry. That was his 2nd reception today. He's now got 15 yards. Sampson rolls near side, gives to Grant, hit in the backfield, he's dropped. Not much more to say about that play. Tackled by Tavita Mafi. First tackle for loss this season from the senior out of Sacramento, California. He's made a big trip, hasn't he? Played both sides of the ball in high school, offensive and defensive line. That's one of the hardest things to do. People don't really anticipate how hard it is to be an offensive lineman, especially in high school. You got some of those really, really big guys. Braves could really use some yardage, though. Their rushing yards on the ground have basically outmatched their passing yards throughout this game. Sampson hit as he throws, but it's a quick screen to E.J. Williams on the near side. He crosses midfield and steps out of bounds as he sees the pressure approaching in Davion Washington. That should be enough for the first down from the Braves, and that'll bring them into positive yardage offensively today. After that last hit in the backfield from Miles Grant, the Braves had 17 yards through the air, but minus 17 yards on the ground. They were sitting at 0 total offensive yards with 5 minutes gone in this second quarter. Toss on that pass, though, to E.J. Williams, and the Braves now are at a measly 9 offensive yards with 5 minutes left here in the second quarter. See if they can bounce back. Still only 14-0. Sampson claps, and he has it. 3-step drop back, but minimal time in the pocket. He pumps, he goes, Span downfield, caught at the 10. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Braves! He had a 40-yard touchdown pass last week, a 50-yard touchdown pass this week, and the Braves are back in it. 14-6 with 10:09 left to go here in the first half. Out comes Alex Alvarado to attempt the PAT. The long snapper is Alex Richardson. The holder is Austin Foley. Richardson has already muffed a snap earlier today. The one to Isaac Parks on the first attempted punt from the Braves. Let's see what happens here. The snap is back, the ball is down, the kick is up, and the kick is good.
The kick is good. Your score is
Beautiful drive from the Braves. They made it count. They trail now by only 7. 10:09 left to go here in the first half. We'll step aside and be right back here on the UNCP Sports Network. Back in on the UNCP Sports Network, 4 plays, 65 yards, spanning a minute 57 seconds, capped off by Dom Sampson's 50-yard touchdown pass to JoJo Span, the 3rd receiving touchdown of the year for the senior out of McDonough, Georgia. It's now 14-7, still in favor of the Wingate Bulldogs, but the Braves have a little life now. 10:09 left to go in this first half, and out is Nate Williams to kick this one off. From left to right, he's got the ball lined where he likes it, between the hashes of the 35-yard line. Back to return are Don McNeil and Ronnie Procopio. Love that name, Procopio. Wake Forest, North Carolina, his hometown. Williams making sure his line is sent. They put a man in motion, as a matter of fact. Looks like there was a misalignment, and the Braves ran out of time as a flag comes in.
Play game. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty.
So Josh Manns was rushing to the sidelines, but it looks like he was just lined up improperly because they were having him switch sides, it seems. Not because there were 12 men on the field or anything of that instance, but Nate Williams is going to have to back up 5 yards. Lord giveth and Lord taketh away on situations like that. Braves 50-yard touchdown pass, but then their third special teams miscue of the night. We've still only got 5 minutes gone in this second quarter. Braves, however, trail by only 7. Ball lined up between the hash marks of the 30-yard line now. Williams has his men set, and now he's on his way. End over end, it's a low one and mildly short, bouncing first at the 25-yard line before it's picked up by Dom McNeil. He has a blocker, but only gets to about the 30 before he's hit and brought down. An excellent stop by the Braves on that play. Tackle made by Michael Aaron, the tight end. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 30, a decent kick and a good stop from the Braves considering the delay of game penalty. So take away 4 seconds on that game clock, and we've got 10:04 left in this first half. 14-7 Braves trail. Their defense is ready to go. Already out on the field, lined up with a 4-man front on the ball. Well, Wingate is taking their time. As we mentioned, time of possession has been a big issue for the Braves in the past few games, and Wingate has done pretty well with that the past few years. As a matter of fact, their game against Fayetteville State in Week 2, they had a monstrous 40 minutes of offensive time of possession. This one aired downfield to B.J. Muckelbean, caught across midfield to the 45. Hit by Bakembe Carney as he's in the air, but Muckelbean holds on. Mark it at the far hash of the Braves 43, and that is a stab to the heart for the Braves defense on the first play of this drive.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's another Bulldog.
Braves could really work with a turnover here. As a matter of fact, Wingate has not had a negative turnover differential in a single game this year. They had a fumble recovery already on the muffed punt. So they're working a little positive. Faking a jet sweep, giving it again on the near side to Blake Hayes, and the Braves defense didn't let that one go too easily. Looked to be Cameron Williams sniffed the play out, saw the sweep coming in, but followed the ball carrier as it was given to Hayes up the gut. Make it a gain of about 1 and make it 2nd and 9. See how much we continue with the running game in this one. Blake Hayes staying out on the field for Wingate. Whitaker claps. He has 3 receivers on the near side in the gun. He has it. 3-step drop back, looking on the near side, and has Hayes on the sweep. Braves get there in the backfield in time, and he's dropped. Devin Jones, beautiful play. 9 tackles on the year now for the redshirt freshman. This is something you haven't seen much from Wingate, getting a lot of tackles in the backfield. The Braves haven't been able to get much defensively when it comes to these situations, but boy, oh boy, are they making their presence known in the back.
The UNCP 46-yard line.
They get 3rd and long now, 12 to be exact from the Braves 46. It's still Blake Hayes, the running back. Put the slot receiver in motion, that's Jay Hood. Whitaker has it, 2-step drop, there's pressure, he's going deep with it, and there's contact, no flag, it's incomplete. Brian Mitchell, the intended receiver, the junior out of Yorktown, Virginia, and that'll bring up 4th down. Braves defense does it again. They're doing an excellent job so far defensively overall. Wingate has not had a game this year in which they've had less than 350 total offensive yards. The Braves have held them to under 100 at this point in the game. Or scratch that, just a little over 100. They've held them under 100 passing yards. Just under 125 total yards. Second punt from Chris Barozes. Taking his time. It's over his head. Braves are in pursuit. Back to the 20. Barozes slides. They stop him. There must be something in the air with these long snappers. But the Braves have the ball in Wingate's red zone. Tucker Mullis, the true freshman long snapper, is probably getting an earful on the sidelines right now. 1st and 10 for the Braves at the Wingate 19-yard line. Sampson in the gun. Split with 2 on either side. 8:06 to go in this first half. 3-step drop. Looking to the left side. Underthrown. Might have been tipped, as a matter of fact, as Sampson was hit as he threw. Tackle or pressure, I should say, made by Ontrell Mack, forcing the incompletion. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Braves at the Wingate 19-yard line. Yeah, Mack made some contact on that play. 14-7 Braves trail. Boy, what a turn of events in the Braves' favor after the fatal mistake that they suffered early in the first quarter. Went the exact same way, too. Same side of the field, same situation, nearly same yard line. The Braves are benefactors of it this time. This one, a quick pass on the near side. It's caught by Spann, who's really chugging those feet down to the 12 before he's pulled out of bounds. Tackle on the play made by Zach Singleton, the senior linebacker. Making a gain of about 7. That'll bring up 3rd down for the Braves, but they still don't have the first. They need to pick up about 3 more to the 9-yard line. Clock continues to tick. Now 7:45 left to go in this first half. The Braves trail by 7. And they're well within field goal range. You'd think at this point they'll take it. They just need the points. They need the offense to be excited about something. Sampson claps, has it, looks to the left side on 3-step drop back, and he slings it to E.J. Williams. Hit, flag, caught, touchdown! E.J. Williams gets the Braves back up on it. 14-13 they trail. First game since Elizabeth City on September 9th that the Braves have scored 2 touchdowns, and they do it on the road here in Wingate, North Carolina. Williams is fired up. There's still a flag on the play with the contact. You can only assume pass interference, though, against Wingate. We'll have to see. Could be wrong. Let's check. Here comes David Williams.
Defense, number 22. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
And you can hear the Braves fans from the opposite side of the field making their presence known. Like I said, they chartered a bus out here. They're excited. Davion Washington, the perpetrator on that penalty. Either way, the Braves an opportunity to tie it here. Alex Alvarado. The snapper is Richardson, the holder Foley. The snap is back, the ball is down, the kick is up, and the kick is good. Braves have tied the game with 7:20 left to go in this first half. We'll be right back in just a few seconds right here on the UNCP Sports Network. Back in on the UNCP Sports Network, we are tied after a 3-play, 19-yard drive for the Braves, nearly mimicking the opening drive touchdown for Wingate. James Whitaker had a pass to Jay Hood for 8 yards for a 3-play, 14-yard drive. Dom Sampson, a 12-yard pass to E.J. Williams for a 3-play, 19-yard drive, both after mishandled snaps on a punt. Either way, we're tied with 7:20 left to go in the first half, and end over end, Nate Williams boots this one. It's a short pooch, bouncing first at the 22-yard line where Don McNeil picks it up, heads to the hash marks, and fights to the 30. Braves, they make a good charge at it and try to strip the ball, but that's not really something you see too often from Don McNeil. He's a quality player. Michael Aaron, the tackle on the play. Second special teams tackle, and as many trips out there for Aaron. Either way, the Braves have been starting to get some good field position defensively. We'll see if that trend continues. Like I said, the phenomenal running game from Wingate has been something to kind of brag about for them the past few games. In their Fayetteville State game, in which they won 31-21, they rushed for 249 yards in that game, and they had the ball for 40.5 minutes of the game. That's just absurd, any way you slice it. Under center is Whitaker on this 1st and 10 from his own 30-yard line. Sliding out to the near side, the give is to Pittman. Pittman stiff arms a man, but the defensive line surrounds him and brings him down after a gain of about 3. Tajay Lyles in on that tackle. Assisting on the play for the Braves. Let's see who that is. That was Cyrus Stonback, the transfer out of NC Central. Former Eagle. Pick it 2nd and 8. 6:51 left to go in this first half. We're tied at 14. Empty backfield for Whitaker. He has Pittman as a receiver on the far side. No drop back. Looking to the near. Batted away from B.J. McElveen. Sean Everett making his presence known. Hasn't had an interception since the Catawba game against former Braves quarterback Pat O'Brien. But Everett is starting to catch fire once again. The sophomore out of Hamlet, North Carolina, makes it 3rd and 7. Clock stops at 6:40 left to go in this first half. Wingate offense back onto the field. It was a 3-and-out last time they were here. Braves defense doing work and some late substitutions from the receiving corps. Tight end, as a matter of fact, Jake Jensen off the field. Whitaker, he's ready now in the shotgun with a 3-step drop back. He pumps, but he's taking it on the delayed QB draw with a lot of open space to the midfield marker now. Across the 50 to the 45 before he finally jukes and gets brought down. Tackle on the play made for the Braves, that time by Michael Clark.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's another Bulldog.
Clark caught that play late as well as the entire linebacking core, and a delayed QB draw makes it 1st and 10 for Wingate at the Braves now 48-yard line. You could consider that similar to the option plays that Newberry ran last week that really caught the Braves off guard. Just that little extra second of decision making that lets the defense decide what they're going for. This one a run off guard from Lawrence Pittman and doesn't materialize much. Make it a gain of about 2 before the defensive line brings him down. Alpha Lamine the tackle for UNCP. Pittman putting together a decent day as we start to progress into the midway point of this second quarter. 10 carries already, but only 30 yards total. Josh Sheridan, meanwhile, for the Braves, has 3 carries for 27 yards. 2nd and 8. Pittman behind Whitaker in the gun. Man in motion, that's Malik Bledsoe. From a slot on the near side, far side, he's all alone now. Give on the far side to Pittman. A lot of guys in pursuit. He escapes Alpha Lamine and has the first down. He's shoved out of bounds after an excellent gain by Josh Mann. Some laundry on the field, though, in the backfield. Could be holding, perhaps. We'll have to see. The only 2 players in the vicinity are Jake Jensen for Wingate, and it looks like Justin Davis, perhaps, for UNCP. But like I said, could go either way. We'll just have to see what we have.
Holding. Offense number 82. 10-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
So Jake Jensen, as I said. But instead of a 1st and 10 for Wingate at the Braves' 36-yard line, 10 yards, we'll head back and make it 2nd and 18. Lucky break for the Braves. We haven't seen too many flags at all throughout this game. That was only the 3rd for Wingate. Braves only have 1, and that was the delay of game on the kickoff from Nate Williams, so nothing that really benefited or made a difference in the long run. Here's Whitaker, 3-step drop, and he finds on the near side his running back Blake Hayes. An opening and a shove out of bounds after he crosses midfield. The penalty pushed them back across midfield, but Wingate gets just about back to where they were before the penalty. Maybe a couple of extra yards thanks to Hayes' feet. Pushed out of bounds by Tajay Lyles. Donovan Wirt.
It's a 3rd and 5 for the Bulldogs.
As a matter of fact, Albert Wright was in there. So it'll be 3rd and 5. Big gain of about 13 there. Still not enough as Whitaker will have to take it in the gun solo. 3-step drop back. There's pressure, but he slings it up on a cut. It's complete. Up and hit, brought down. After a decent game, Malik Bledsoe hasn't seen much action. The junior out of Culloden, Georgia. Or rather, that wasn't Bledsoe. That was Adam Riley II. When I say Bledsoe hasn't seen much action, Riley, that's his first action today. Gain of 6 is good enough for the first down. Those quick little passes are really what can bite the Braves a lot of times, too. You see how the secondary can get beat on a lot of go routes, but something up the gut like that, the Braves have never really been able to get defensively. 4-man front incoming on this 1st and 10 play. Pittman, the running back, once again. Whitaker has it, gives to Pittman, up the gut, fakes to the near side tackle. He's wrapped, he's brought down. Josh Mann's an impressive play to make the shoelace stop, but not before Pittman can bring up 5 yards. Clock continues to run, though. That's the downside of Wingate's running offense, is that clock rarely stops for them. with how little you see James Whitaker pass the ball, and he rarely passes the ball, even though he is 8 for 13 today. A lot of the times, it's people on the ground. Lawrence Pittman, Blake Hayes, sometimes you even see Dom McNeil taking it himself. But there's 3.5 minutes left in this half. Braves receive the second half kickoff. Pittman, the running back, to the right side of a shotgun Whitaker. He's calling for timeout as the play clock is down to 4. Seemed to be that they would have gotten that one off in time, but from Whitaker's standpoint, with the game clock winding down, this is a fair called timeout. Second charged of the half for Wingate. And with this break, we'll take 1-2. 14-14, we're tied with 3:24 left in this first half. Rejoin us in just a few seconds right here on the UNCP Sports Network. Foggy and misty Saturday evening as the sun has now set on Erwin Belk Stadium for only the second time in its live football career. They just installed lights this past off-season. The Braves are only the second visiting team to make an appearance here. The first was Carson Newman 2 weeks ago. Wingate winning that game 31-27 in the historic first night game in a stadium built in 1998. Took them a while to get with the times. 3:24 left to go here in this first quarter. We're tied at 14 coming out of this timeout. Wingate has a 3rd and 5 at the Braves 34. They had it 2nd and 18, backed all the way up to to Wingate's own 45-yard line. They were able to pick up a first down on the 2 plays, but they've got 3 minutes and 24 seconds to try and march the final 33 yards downfield. In the gun is Whitaker. Pittman to his left, a man in motion. It's a jet sweep onto the near side, picked up, and there's a lot of blocking from Pittman. We've got whistles as the man is pushed out of bounds. Play made by JT Stokes. He's hobbling a little bit coming out of that one, but an excellently designed play from Wingate. Great pass protection and great coverage from Pittman to give JT Stokes the opportunity to make that jet sweep work. Tackle on the play made by Sean Everett for UNCP. Chalk it up as a first down for Wingate. And the Braves need to get some work. Clock rolling now, under 3 to go in this first half. Pittman to the right side of Whitaker in the gun. This one to give to Pittman, up the gut. Tries to sidestep to the right, but he's hit and brought down. Jordan Howard, an excellent tackle. His 12th of the season for the redshirt freshman out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Braves defense has been pretty darn good today. They've gotten multiple stops as the game has progressed. Make it 3 and outs. Obviously, that's not an opportunity here, but they can make a big stop with 2:29 left to go in the first half. Empty backfield for Whitaker on this 2nd and 9. 3 receivers on the far side. It's a 3-step drop and a quick slant up the middle once again. Hit is B.J. McElveen as he makes the reception. Josh Mans knew that play was coming immediately, but it'll be a gain of about 4. And the Braves will send out another defensive unit to try and keep themselves fresh. Make it 3rd and 5 after the reception to McElveen at the Braves' 22-yard line. So far this season, Wingate is 19 for 26 on their trips to the red zone. That's only 73%, but the fact that they've made 26 trips to the red zone is a fact within itself. In the shotgun is Whitaker. He has it. 3-step drop back, pumps. He's taking it in a delayed QB draw with an opening, but instead throws it. It's tipped away from McElveen just before Whitaker crosses the line of scrimmage. Beautiful play from Albert Wright as the Braves are able to bring up 4th down and force Wingate's hand. It seems to be they'll be bringing out Freddie McCullum to attempt the field goal. It'll be a 40-yard attempt for McCullum. Would be a new career high if he makes it.
To attempt the field goal.
In only his first season as a starter, played behind the All-Conference Caleb Baird last year. He's got a chance. Between the hash marks, it'll be a 40-yard attempt. The snapper is Tucker Mullis. The holder is Chris Barozes. From 40 yards out, the snap is back. The ball is down. The kick is up. It has the distance. And the kick is good. New career log for Freddie McCullum, the senior out of Sanford, North Carolina. 40 yards to make it 17-14 in favor of the Wingate Bulldogs. 1:28 left to go here in the first half. The Braves have a chance, and remember, they will receive the second half kickoff, so I don't think they're too worried as of yet. Folks, a word from our sponsors. Lumbee River Electric Membership Corporation belongs to the members it serves. That means their members have a say in how their co-op is run. Doesn't that sound good? 4 values are the foundation of Lumbee River EMC's service to its members: innovation, commitment to community, accountability, and integrity. These values represent the cooperative difference in how our co-op earns the trust of its members every day. Chalk it up as 12 plays, 48 yards, spanning 5 minutes and 52 seconds. We finally see some of that long offensive possession time from Wingate that we'd been hearing so much about. Capped off by a chalk it up 39-yard field goal from Freddie McCullum. Either way, still a career high for the senior out of Sanford, North Carolina. 17-14 Braves trail, and they really got to get something done here with 1:28 left to go in the first half. We've got a whole second half coming your way as the Braves will receive the opening kickoff. They're set to receive this kickoff right now. Freddie McCullum, from right to left, is set to go as the lights bear down here on Irwin Belk Stadium. Back to return are Spann and Jones. On the near hash, the ball is placed. McCullum on his way. End over end, it's a low one, and this one might be headed out of bounds too. No, Spann picks it up his own 3. Inside the numbers, he's taking it. Cuts back a man and steps out of bounds at the 18-yard line, maybe about the 20. Didn't really care too much for the incoming pressure at the hands of DJ Crosby, the redshirt freshman linebacker. He'll just take it 1st and 9 at the Braves' own 19. 1:23 left to go here in this first half. Braves trail by only 3 in a game that has seen plenty of fun. Defensive miscues, offensive miscues, special team struggles all around. Mishandled snaps, tackles on punters. We've seen penalties for holding. Well, you see penalties for holding in just about every game, but it's been a fun game with a lot going on. That much is pretty apparent. Sampson in the backfield, has it on the 1st and 10, quickly slings it to Spann, who catches it low and rolls away with it just across the 25-yard line. Good for a gain of about 7 to make it 2nd down. Clock continues to tick. We're coming up at about 1:10 left to go in this first half. Braves trail by 3. Sampson in the backfield. He's got Sheridan to provide a little extra blockage on this pass out to Spann in between the numbers on the near side. Same play as Spann steps out of bounds this time. Tim Longmire on the coverage. It doesn't seem that Longmire is too concerned with what Spann is going with on this. Either way, it's 1st down for the Braves as they make it across the 35 now. Let's see if we see it again. 58 seconds left to go in this first half. Sampson has it, looks, pumps against Spann, rolls out to escape some pressure. He's hit from the back, he's dropped. He can't try it 3 times in a row, and boy, oh boy, did they make him pay. Lewis Rogers, the redshirt freshman, his 2nd sack of the year. Set a high school record back in Spartansburg, South Carolina. 39 career sacks. As Pembroke is saying with 49 seconds left, let's plot out our direction on this one. It'll be 2nd and 10 as they call for a timeout. Be sure to stick around. We'll have a halftime show incoming, give you some of the leading stats from this game and what to look forward to in the second half. And boy, oh boy, should we have a great second half if it's anything like what we've seen in this first half. Game started out Braves forcing a pretty big defensive stop after Wingate marched their way into Braves territory to the 45. Braves were able to make a turnover on downs. They went 3 and out though, and on the attempted punt after the fact, Alex Richardson snapped the ball over Isaac Parks' head. Parks was able to recover it, but not until he was inside his own 15-yard line. Wingate was able to take it into the end zone just 3 plays later on a 14-yard drive, an 8-yard touchdown pass to Jay Hood from James Whitaker. Later in the second quarter, it was Lawrence Pittman, a 2-yard touchdown run on a 4-play, 61-yard drive, put Wingate up by 2 touchdowns. UNCP tied the game. Dom Sampson's 50-yard pass to JoJo Spann. 90 yards on JoJo Spann's last 2 touchdown receptions. And then Sampson found E.J. Williams on a 12-yard pass in a similar situation after a mishandled punt from Wingate to tie the game up at 14. Freddie McCullum ended this half with a 39-yard field goal. And when I say ended, I mean ended, because Dom Sampson out on the field now takes his first knee after that second down play following the first down sack. And the Braves are just going to take this one into the locker room. As I said, they will receive the kickoff to start the second half, so I think head coach Shane Richardson and Johnny Cox, the offensive coordinator, are a little more concerned with how the offense will fare when they have a fresh 15 on the clock and they're not trying to work against the clock. Game clock and play clock only offset by about 5 seconds, so we just need one more knee from Dom, and we'll be good to head into the locker room. He's looking around and taking his sweet old time, but he's ready to go now. Protected by Beecham and Miles Grant. He takes the snap, he takes the knee, and with 5 seconds left, we've reached the end of the first half. Braves trail only 17-14. Or no.
Wingate.
Oh, Wingate's going to be a little cheeky with it. 3 seconds left to go here in the first half. Wingate charges their last timeout, and the Braves will have 4th and long. So Wingate will bring out their stellar punt return unit. One can only assume on this 4th down, unless the Braves elect to snap it to Dom and just have him scramble in the backfield for the final 3 seconds. You never know with what we've already seen today. Both sides have already mishandled a snap on the punting squad. So if I'm Shane Richardson, do I go with Isaac Parks? That's the question of the day. Or do you snap it to Dom? He can go under center and then just run 5 yards back, take a quarterback slide, and it would be considered a turnover on downs, but it would eat out the clock. That's all the Braves are really concerned about. So Wingate burns their final timeout as they lead by 3 with 3 seconds left to go here in this first half. And the Braves are still looking over the sideline. Sampson's out on the field, so I can only assume that they're going to go with some sort of variation of what I described, or they're just going to draw up a regular play and then just heave it downfield, as Wingate is playing deep, deep, deep to cover. In the shotgun is Sampson with Miles Grant to his backside. He takes it and gives it to Grant. Grant cuts a defender. He has a little bit of an opening across the 40, but he's dragged down as time expires here on the first half. Tackled by Robbie Wallace, the sophomore linebacker. 17-14, Braves trail after a little bit of a extended end of the second half. Either way, we're going to take a break. We've got a plenty good halftime show coming your way, and hopefully a plenty good second half when we return. 17-14 in favor of Wingate and the Bulldogs. The Braves will receive the second half kickoff when we come back right here on the UNCP Sports Network. serenades us with YMCA here at Irwin Belk Stadium. On a beautiful campus of Wingate University in Wingate, North Carolina. Matt Sabatis with you for the halftime show of UNCP Braves football. 17-14, they trail in what's been a not only back and forth, but just an interesting all-around kind of game. Technically, neither team has turned the ball over, but we've had 2 turnovers on downs from both sides. A couple of them have, or as a matter of fact, 3 turnovers on downs from both sides. My mistake. 2 of them on the Braves have been on mishandled punts. One of them has been on a simple rush that just didn't materialize. And it's been the opposite for Wingate. 1 mishandled punt on a misplayed snap from Tucker Mullis, the long snapper, to his punter, Chris Barozes. And the other 2 were just rushes that the defensive line was able to stop. Talk about the defensive line and how they've really put the pressure on Lawrence Pittman in the entire running game of Wingate, kind of forcing James Whitaker's hand on a lot of these passes. And he's been responding to the pressure somewhat intently. We'll take a look at the full numbers in just a few seconds, but you just got to talk about the way that this game has progressed in general. It started out with the Braves allowing Wingate into their side of the field, coming up with a massive stop out of nowhere. That was one of the first turnovers on downs I mentioned. But then all of a sudden the Braves go 3 and out. They mishandle a punt. Alex Richardson over-snaps it to Isaac Parks. Goes well out of Parks' reach. He's able to finally recover it inside the Braves' own 15-yard line. Wingate scores. They score again later in the second quarter, and it's 14-0. Braves fans at this point in a 3-game losing streak are saying, oh no, here we go again. But the Braves did it. They came back with it. You talk with head coach Shane Richardson, and that's exactly what he expected coming into today's game. He told me personally, he said, this is a team that we have history against. This is a team that we can come in there, and with our talent, we can just punch them in the mouth. You sucker punch a team like this, and with the talent on the Braves side of the field, just with some of the lack of experience, it's led to some mishandled outcomes. But we see a good one so far shaping up in today's matchup. 17-14, the Braves trail after clawing back from a 14-0 deficit. We'll see how things continue. We'll take one more short break. When we come back, we'll give you the full stat lines from the first half and what to look forward to in the second half right here on the UNCP Sports Network. Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline. That's a pretty good band Wingate brings to the table. That's a matter of fact right there. 17-14, Braves trail, however, here at halftime. We've got about 10 minutes left to go before we kick off the second half. Braves will receive the opening kickoff, but until then, let's get you some of the numbers to set you up for that second half. And one of the first numbers you need to keep an eye out for is the fact that the Braves have minus 17 yards rushing over the course of the day. What can you even say about that? The Braves have done well on the ground. It's just basically been sacks, sacks, sacks. Dom Sampson and Austin Foley have been taken down in the backfield, and then I guess they contribute some of those numbers to the misconstrued punts that were thrown to Isaac Parks. Those are probably written down as rushes on the scorer's sheet, so that probably contributes to the minus 17 yards of rushing for the Braves, because Josh Sheridan leads the way for UNCP with 17 yards on the ground. Brian Staten is number 2 with 13. Through the air, the Braves and the Bulldogs are pretty much tied. 111 yards for UNCP, 118 yards for Wingate. As a matter of fact, though, Wingate only has 28 yards overall on the ground. They haven't been doing very good to much of a degree. Lawrence Pittman is the leader with 13 carries, only 38 total yards. That is well below his current season average. He's sitting now in today's game at 2.9 yards per carry. Coming into today's game, he was sitting at 3.7 yards per carry. The defense is doing a phenomenal job. Clearly, they've done their scouting, and that can only be positively outlooked for the game down the line against Concord, because the Braves are going to have a whole extra week to prep for that game against Concord. We'll just have to see. Dom Sampson, he really bounced back after being taken out in the first series. 10 for 12 through the air, 111 yards with 2 touchdown passes, one to E.J. Williams, one to JoJo Spann. The Spann touchdown for 50 yards, his longest of the day. He's only been dropped once. He hasn't thrown a pick. As a matter of fact, neither team has given up an offensive turnover. They've all been turnovers on downs, and we've seen 6 total in today's game, which has just kind of led to some of the intensity and just fun overall. This has been a fun game no matter what side you're on. Wingate offensively, Lawrence Pittman leads the way, as I said, 13 carries for 38 yards, but Blake Hayes is following him with 5 carries, 11 yards. He's doing a comparable job. He's done better through the air a lot of the times. 2 receptions for 10 yards and has a 13-yard reception to go along with it. Passing-wise, James Whitaker, he's up and down. 9 for 15 through the air, so he's not as constant with Dom Sampson as it comes to it, but he's finding more receivers downfield. 118 total yards through the air for Whitaker. A long touchdown pass of 48 yards to Jake Jensen, or it wasn't the touchdown pass, it was to Jensen finding himself just outside the red zone, led to Freddie McCullum's 39-yard field goal. But he's only got the 1 touchdown, and that was the pass to Jay Hood for 8 yards. Both quarterbacks have been sacked once. Austin Foley has been sacked once as well for the Braves. Defensively, leading the way for UNCP is Bakembe Carney. That's something that the Braves would wish might be moved up closer to the line of scrimmage, because Carney, Josh Manns, and Colton Weeks are your leading tacklers, each with 5 tackles. You'd like to see maybe a defensive lineman or maybe more linebackers other than just Colton Weeks getting in on those stops. We'll just have to see if things continue. For Wingate, they're seeing more guys like that. Robbie Wallace and Zach Singleton are numbers 1 and 2 tackles-wise with 5 and 4 respectively. And then Cardell Rawlings and Lewis Rogers, both defensive linemen, have 4 and 3 respectively. The Braves haven't been doing much per se. They didn't contribute that sack to a single person from UNCP. And nobody has a tackle for loss throughout today's game. Robbie Wallace and Zach Singleton lead the way with 5 and 4 tackles. Don't have a sack or a tackle for loss, but Cardell Rawlings with 4 tackles has half a sack and a full tackle for loss. As I said, no real turnovers committed by either side. It's just been 6 total turnovers on downs. We'll have to see if things change up. Dom Sampson's 7 interceptions in his last 3 games have all come, or not all come, but a majority of them have come in the second half. So we'll see if he can stay consistent and stay buckled down through the second half. But a lot of that yet to be seen. Braves trail 17-14. We've still got some time left in this halftime show. We'll step aside right now. When we come back, we'll give you a little bit of outlook, what to watch out for in the second half, right here on the UNCP Sports Network.
Take responsibility.
We keep things rolling here on the UNCP Sports Network. Matt Sabaz with you on what's becoming a foggier and foggier Saturday evening here in Wingate, North Carolina. Irwin Belk Stadium is the venue. Braves trail 17-14 at half here on the UNCP Sports Network. Let's take a look at some of the outside the numbers kind of things that you'll want to watch out for the second half. Now, the rushing game, as I mentioned, was one of the keys to the game that the Braves needed to not only lock down defensively, but get themselves going offensively. They've done one of the two. That's the thing. Offensively, they can't really get the rush going per se, even though a couple of their botched punts have been jotted down as rushes because they need to be jotted down as something, obviously. So they still are technically in the minus when it comes to their overall rushing game, and the same goes for Wingate. Technically, they've held Lawrence Pittman to only 30 yards on the day, and Wingate's only 18 yards total on the ground, but again, that's to a misplayed putt. Defensively, key number 2 was to follow the ball. Following up on that, the Braves have done a pretty fairly good job on that. The Bulldogs have tried to go with a couple of those delayed runs and those option plays that Newberry ran that threw the Braves off guard and led to a couple of big gains and a touchdown or two. And the Braves have done a much better job than they did against Newberry following those sorts of plays. There were a couple of big gains. I do recall the one delayed quarterback draw from James Whitaker that led to a gain of about 15 across midfield. Whitaker was really fired up about that one, but the Braves were able to settle down. That one led to only a field goal for Freddie McCullum. So the Braves have done just about everything they need to do except for the special teams excelling part of the game. The punting unit has been so-so. They haven't had a chance to return, as the only real punt that they got from Chris Barozes was picked up at the 1-yard line. You don't get a chance to return any sort of punt like that. And the only other time Barozes was out on the field, snapped one over his head, and he had to recover it inside his own 20. So punting unit hasn't really gotten a chance. The kickoff unit hasn't gotten too many chances, and they're not going to get much of a chance at the start of the second half because the Braves will be receiving the ball. But we'll see how special teams can react to the start of this one, because the second half is going to be a half to watch. That is for darn sure. 14-17, Braves trail Wingate in the Bulldogs. We've got about 3 minutes left to go before the start of the second half. We'll take a break until then. This is Matt Sabatas with you here on the UNCP Sports Network. Back on the UNCP Sports Network as we get set for the second half here at Irwin Belk Stadium in Wingate, North Carolina. Matt Sabat is with you. I thank you, as always, for joining me here on the UNCP Sports Network. A bit of a gloomy Saturday evening. The clouds have gone, but the mist and fog is here to stay, and the lights are making that apparent. Only the second night game in Irwin Belk Stadium history. They didn't install lights in this facility until just this past offseason. It was built in 1998. When they finally got with the time. 17-14 Braves trail as we get ready to start the second half. Braves will be receiving the ball. They'll be returning from right to left as Freddie McCollum will be kicking it off from left to right. Wingate in their home blue jerseys with the blue pants, gold numbering, white trim around the numbers. Wingate over top with gold sleeves, a blue helmet, and a gold stripe down the middle with a golden W on the side. Braves in their white road jerseys, black numbering, white pants with white trim around the number. UNC Pembroke over top with the black helmet, Brave head on the side, and a white and gold stripe across the middle. McCollum has the ball set where he likes it on the near hash of the 35-yard line. Spann and Davis back to return. Spann and Jones, rather. Jones will take it at the goal line. Hauls it across to the 15. On the near hash, he has a blocker, but he's brought down by a quartet of Wingate Bulldogs. Not much more you can say about that one. That's just a simple return from a simple man. Tackle on the play made by Gage Sumrall, the sophomore defensive back for Wingate, and the second half is underway. 14:53 left to go here in this third quarter. Braves trying to break their 3-game losing streak. Wingate trying to continue their 4-game winning streak. Braves have already had a handful of fantastic drives in today's game. A 65-yard, 4-play drive. Putting the Braves on the board for the first time tonight was their second longest drive in 3 games. Spann takes the snap, fakes the handoff on the near side, and has plenty of time in the pocket to fly it downhill to JoJo Spann. And Sampson can't get it to him. Spann has an issue, and there's a flag in the backfield. Looks to be it might be holding. There was some contact between Brian Staten, the running back, and some of the pressure incoming. Oh, wow. Pardon me, that's on Cardell Rawlings, the defensive end, roughing the passer against Sampson. And the Braves will benefit with a free first down. Only the 4th penalty today charged to Wingate. Oh, and watching the replay, that was clear. It was probably about 10 yards downfield from Sampson's hands before Rawlings made the contact. Either way, Sampson in the gun. Fakes the give on the near side, and he pumps it downfield for JoJo Grant. Or E.J. Williams, rather. My mistake. He gets it. Fires across to about 5 yards shy of midfield. It'll be enough for the first down. Make it 1st and 10 for the Braves. They're just a few yards shy of midfield. Chalk it up on their own 44-yard line. Sampson in the gun. He's got Brian Staten to his right side. 3 receivers on the far, 1 on the near. JoJo Spann is all alone. A 4-man front incoming from the Wingate Bulldogs. Sampson takes an extra step back in the gun. Talks to Staten as the play clock is down to 5. He claps, he has it, chest high, 3-step drop back, pressure, it's a screen to Staten. He's hit as he receives it, but he escapes the pressure. He's across midfield between the numbers and steps out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Brian Staten, what a play from the junior out of Greenville, North Carolina. Good to pick up a first down and a little bit more. 1 minute gone in this second half. Braves trail by 3. Chains resetting now. Sampson and Staten. Well, I should say Staten too soon as he heads off the field. Miles Grant in at running back. Swapping through some receivers now. Braves bring out Isaiah Eller, the tight end. Quay3, JoJo Spann, and E.J. Williams are your receivers. In the shotgun is Sampson with Grant to his backside. Eller takes a step back as the TE, and the give is to Grant on the far side. Finds a quick hole as the defense blows past him, and he's able to pick up about 5 yards before the defensive end on Trail Mack is able to make a play. Make it 2nd down after the gain from Grant, and the Braves are moving slowly. The sophomore out of Rockingham, North Carolina, really starting to heat up this season. Already plus 40 carries, coming up on week 6. has an opportunity to plateau his 2016 season when he had 442 yards on the ground. You know he'd like to get more touches, as he and Josh Sheridan have basically been splitting time this whole year. 2nd and 5. Sampson claps, there's pressure, he has it, fakes the give, he keeps it himself, and he hesitated. He's brought down in the backfield by Ontrell Mack. There's an offensive lineman down on the field too. He's getting up on his own power. Look to be Gage Baldwin, the right tackle. Either way, it's going to be a loss of about 4 for UNCP. Look to be some hesitation. I'm not sure which way that play was supposed to be going, as Grant took it, didn't take it as a matter of fact, was probably supposed to be providing a little additional blocking on the blind side of Sampson, and Sampson hesitated on which way he was supposed to be going with that play, and it was much too late. Ontrell Mack was in the backfield and all over Dom. Sampson claps forward on this 3rd and 9. Pumps. Delayed handoff. This one to Grant. He's got it. Doesn't get the first down, though. Makes it to about the 40. A good gain of about 6 to bring up 4th down. Zach Singleton, the tackle. Senior out of Germantown, North Carolina. One of the best linebackers on this team. Approaching 140 career tackles even after missing a couple of years due to injury. Either way, it's 4th and 3 for the Braves, and that brings out Isaac Parks. Muckelveen will return it. He's lined up at his own 10-yard line. Parks is set. It's a high snap, but he hops and receives it. Muckelveen has to track for it. It bounces first at the 5. And the Braves try to save it before it rolls into the end zone. There's a slide for it. It depends on where it was stopped. Looks like the Braves got there. What a play. Alex Richardson, the long snapper, got there first and in time. B.J. Muckelveen could have made an attempt at it, as there wasn't really a Brave in the area, but boy, did Alex Richardson get there just in the nick of time. Braves able to save it. Robert Beecham made the final stop as Richardson tapped it first at the 1 to keep it in bounds. Either way, out comes the offense for Wingate, lined up as far back as they can against their own end zone. Under center is Whitaker. He's got Pittman about 5 yards behind him. Braves nearly jump off sides on a hard count, but they hold themselves before they encroach. This one, a give to Pittman, far side tackle. He's hit. He's still on his feet, bounces off 4 men, and it takes 3 more to bring him down. What a play from Lawrence Pittman. Josh Manns makes the tackle on the far side. First contact was made by Tajay Lyles and Donovan Wirt off the tackle at the line of scrimmage. But it's a gain of 9 after the fact. Incredible. Make it 2nd and 1 now. It's going to be same formation. Under center is Whitaker. 4-man front incoming from the Braves. This one a give to Pittman, again on the far side. Same play as he outruns Wirt. Torn up, brought down by Manns towards the sidelines. Same setup, same run, and same gain of 9 yards. Make it a 1st down for Wingate. Not much to be said about that one. The defensive line is just being blocked properly by the O-line. The linebackers aren't able to get there in time, and it's been up to the secondary for the past couple of plays. 1st and 10 at the 21. In motion, that's JT Stokes, the slot receiver now on the far side alone. This one faking a give. It's a play-action pass. Pressure in the backfield. He's dropped. Khalil Vance, his 2.5 of the year. Senior out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Had to miss a little bit of playing time last week due to an issue with his foot. And boy, oh boy, he's one of the happiest guys out there thanks to that play. Drop him back 9, make it 2nd and 19. They're slow to get to the line with 9.5 left to go in this 17-14 third quarter. In the gun is Whitaker. He has it, looks to his right, it's empty, looks to his left, it's a low catch, but it's bobbled and batted away. The Braves defense put a little bit of extra pressure on JT Stokes, and he wasn't able to hold composure. That makes it 4th and 19. The Braves force another big defensive stop.
19 for Wingate.
So it'll be Chris Barozes out to punt it once again. Or no. They're going for it on 4th and 19. We don't have it up. It's 3rd and 19, as a matter of fact. I guess I just made a simple mistake. 3rd and 19, it's a quick sweep play up the middle. And cutting up with it is Adam Riley II. Braves make the stop after only a gain of about 2. I guess you get ahead of yourself sometimes. Not much you can do about that. And with this murky weather, the condensation covering the windows, it doesn't make it much easier to see the chains or the down marker from this distance. We have some laundry on the field. Here's our head referee, David Williams.
Personal foul, necessary
So the Braves had a chance to bring out Chris Barozes on what would have been a 4th and 15, but unnecessary roughness following the play by Bikembe Carney, and an automatic first down for Wingate at their own 31-yard line. Under 9 minutes left to go here in this 3rd quarter, but the Braves still trail 17-14. Whitaker under center, Pittman to his backside. This one a give on the near side. Whitaker hit, he loses the ball. Who recovered it? There's a pile. The Braves call for it. They're going through. The officials are trying to see. The line judge is getting in there first, trying to see who has it. We don't have a call yet. There's a scrum, and it looks like the Braves might have recovered. Who is it? Braves ball! Dominique Davis, the sophomore out of Laurinburg, with the fumble recovery. First turnover of the game, and the Braves are knocking on the door all of a sudden. Play blown up by Albert Wright in the backfield. Lawrence Pittman dropped the ball, and Dominique Davis was all over the play. There were 3 Braves on it before a Bulldog even made a chance. So out comes Dom Sampson. Josh Sheridan in the offense. In the gun, it's a delayed handoff to Sheridan off the right side guard. He's hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss. That's not the way you want to start a drive. Robbie Wallace, the sophomore out of Covington, Georgia, after missing last year due to an injury, making his way back onto the team and contributing a heck of a lot. 3rd tackle today for Wallace. Makes it 2nd now and 14 for the Braves. 8 minutes left to go, a 17-14 ball game. Braves trail, but they could take the lead on this drive. Sampson has it, a 3-step drop back with Sheridan, adding extra blocking, but Sampson tries to exploit a hole in the offensive line. He can only get about 3 yards. Tackle on the play made that time by Wallace once again. 2nd and now, I say 12. As I said, this condensation getting worse and worse, and there's not much that they can do up here in the press box. Let's make it 3rd and 11. Braves need to get to the Wingate 14-yard line. Sampson will have an empty backfield to try it. He calls for it, chest high, 2-step drop, under pressure, quick sling on the far side. Williams has an opening to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Braves! Caught him on a post between the hashes, and Williams has his 2nd touchdown of the day, and the Braves have their first lead of the night. Crowd has gone silent here at Irwin Belk Stadium as it's now 20-17, the first time the Braves have led in a ball game since the Elizabeth City State game, in which they won 66-14. The snap is back, the ball is down, the kick is up, and the kick from Alex Alvarado is good. 21-17, the Braves have taken the lead over the Wingate Bulldogs. We'll take a break to resettle. We'll come back in just a few seconds right here on the UNCP Sports Network. The first forced turnover for the Braves since the game against Catawba back in week 3, and the Braves turn it into 7. 3 plays, 24 yards, a minute 33 seconds for UNCP, capped off by a 25-yard touchdown pass to E.J. Williams from Dom Sampson. Second reception of the day for Williams, second touchdown of the day. Nate Williams is ready to kick this one off as the Braves lead 21-17. Has it where he likes it in between the hashes of the 35, end over end. It's on his way. It's another little short one. It bounces off the foot of one of the returners, B.J. Muckelveen, or a matter of fact, that was Adam Riley II, and it bounces out of bounds after it bounces off of Riley's foot, so not going to be any flag on that one. Braves catch a break, as it looked like Williams might have been headed that way. Either way, Braves lead 21-17. Folks, a quick word from our sponsor. Ever wonder why Lumberton Chevy Buick Cadillac GMC has such a long name? One reason is the tremendous variety of cars and trucks they offer to meet every need. Great-looking Chevys, Buicks, Cadillacs, and even GMCs. Try their quick lube, and while your vehicle is being serviced, you can see for yourself. They're located next to Lumberton High School. Whitaker in the gun. Pittman to his left side. He puts his receiver in motion. That's Brian Mitchell. Takes it on the near side. Sweep for Pittman. No, that's not Pittman. That's Blake Hayes. Pittman having a rough day, and Hayes is brought down after a gain of 6 on the near side between the numbers. Josh Mann's the tackle for UNCP, and that'll bring up second down. Pittman on the day is having a rough day by his estimates. He's picked up a couple of extra big gains, but he's only got 58 yards on 15 carries. Meanwhile, Josh Sheridan leads the way for the Braves. He hasn't had a carry this half, but he's still got 23 yards on 4. We've got an injured Brave down on the field. Doesn't look to be anything too serious, just perhaps a cramp, I'd like to say, muscle cramp. It's humid out. That's all we can say. That's led to this massive amount of condensation that we've got going on in our broadcast. Cameron Williams on the floor for UNCP. He's being attended to by the training staff. Doesn't look to be anything too serious. As I said, the way they're attending to it, it's most likely a calf cramp on that right leg. Michael Blackburn, the fantastic athletic trainer for the Braves, is out there. And Williams is being helped up now and still keeping weight off that right leg, but he's off under his own power. So shouldn't be too concerning for the sophomore linebacker out of Middlesex, North Carolina. So where did he get hit on that one? Looks like there was just a little bit of contact in the way he went down from that play. No worry there. Either way, it's good enough for a first down from Blake Hayes on the carry. That's all the Braves need to worry about at this point. 1st and 10 from the 33. 6:55 left to go in this third quarter. 21-17 Braves lead. Hayes still the running back. Whitaker in the shotgun. Put a wide receiver in motion. That's B.J. Muckelveen. A slot on the far side. He's alone on the near. It's a reverse to Muckelveen. He's headed back to the far side with a blocker in Whitaker, but he's met after a gain of only about 4. The Braves were able to read that play as it developed pretty substantially slowly. James Martin, the tackle, and a piece of yellow laundry onto the field well after the play had developed and ended. We'll have to see which way this one is going. But as I said, that was just a very slow developing play. Muckelveen probably isn't fast enough for a reverse like that to take place, as the handoff was initially to Blake Hayes, and Hayes had gotten almost entirely to Muckelveen before Muckelveen was handed the ball. So that's on Caleb Cantrell, the right tackle for Wingate. And the Braves are gifted an extra 15 yards of breathing room, and the missed play on first down still takes. So a loss of 15 yards. And since they're saying after the play, the whistle had already been blown, and Cantrell, a little bit of extracurricular pushing with Michael Clark, the defensive back for UNCP. That's a size mismatch up that Clark has no chance of winning, that's for sure. Faking a give on the sweep, going downfield with it, bounced off the head of Bakembe Carney into the hands of one of the offensive linemen, Andrew Strickland, 10 yards backfield. That's a hard play to just describe physically. Whitaker threw it downfield in an attempt to Mason Flint. Bakembe Carney broke the pass up. It bounced off of his helmet all the way back 10 yards into the hands of Andrew Strickland, the left guard. I don't know how Strickland even held on to it. The Braves tackled him there. It's technically a completed pass. Think of the immaculate reception from the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the 60s. It's 3rd and 19 as Whitaker bobbles the snap, and he'll have to make this one work for him. Crosses the line of scrimmage, and he's tripped up on the shoelaces. The Braves are making quick work of this offense. James Martin, the sophomore, with the stop. And after 3rd and 19, it'll be 4th and 15 at most. Whitaker is frustrated coming to the sidelines, and the Braves have a little bit to celebrate about if their punting unit can put together some good yardage. Out comes Barrozes once again. This will only be the second punt of his day if he's able to get it off in time. First one went for 33 yards. He's got the snap, rolls out to the near side, boots it away for JoJo Spann. Beautiful spiral, mildly short, and it bounces, I believe, out of bounds at the Braves' 40-yard line. So fair field position for UNCP to see how their offense will fare. Adidas is the official apparel sponsor for all 16 of UNC Pembroke's varsity athletic teams. Adidas provides some of the most innovative products in the shoe and apparel industry and is one of the most recognizable brands worldwide. We thank Adidas for all of its support in offering UNC Pembroke the best for our student athletes. Sampson and the offense back onto the field now. It'll be Brian Staten as the running back once again. They've really been trying a three-headed monster type of situation, and it's been working for the Braves. Miles Grant with 12 rushing yards, Staten with 13, Sheridan with 23. Quadron Williams in motion. It's a jet sweep to him. He's going to the far side between the hash and the numbers, but he's hitting the backfield and drop. They tried that play in the first series against Wingate, against Newberry last week, and that's what led to the interception for Newberry's first touchdown of the game. Williams bumped in to Sampson on that jet sweep in the game against Newberry, and the ball just bounced out of his hands into the hands of one of the defensive linemen from Newberry. Loss of 1 on that play, so still necessarily didn't even work out for UNCP. Robbie Wallace with the tackle for Wingate, and it's 2nd and 11. Clock rolls with 4 minutes left in this third quarter. Braves lead by 4. Low snap, Sampson pumps to the near side and finds E.J. Williams, but it's low. Williams thought he had a chance, but wasn't able to hold on before he took a turn upfield. He and JoJo Spann are laughing about it, though, as the Braves hold on to their 4-point lead with just over 4 minutes left to go in this third quarter. It's going to be 3rd and 11 for UNCP, because I can't imagine that going downfield is much of an option, because you got to assume that this fog is really going to take a toll on those receivers if they're trying to find a ball, not only just in the gas around the field, but just the lights as well. It's going to be much too difficult. 7 on the play clock. Sampson takes it. 3-step drop back. He rolls out to try and escape some pressure to the far side, and he throws it away. Didn't have much of a chance on that one. The offensive line collapsed around, and pressure by Tavita Mafi, the senior out of Sacramento, California. And the Braves go 3 and out. Still hold on to their 21-17 lead, though. We'll have to see how the Wingate offense responds. And that is an offense that knows how to respond. Listen to some of the records they set last year offensively. Total rushing yards, 2,498. Beat the 1997 record of 2118. Total rushing touchdowns of 37. That blew the 1997 record out of the water by 11. Rushing yards per game with just under 200 as Parks boots it away. Muckelveen backing up on it, signals no play, and the Braves will let it bounce all the way back at the 9-yard line where they stop it there. Beautiful punt from Parks. Some of the other records that they set as a team in this past season. Most points in a game. They put up 64 against Tusculum, and the most rushing yards in a single game. 346 in a game last year against Lenore-Rhine. This is a team that works well on the ground, but boy, oh boy, have the Braves done well to stop it today. We've got a flag on the field after that punt. Braves defense out on the field, so this could be after the play. Let's see what our head referee, David Quilliams, has to say.
Going to kick, personal foul. Unnecessary roughness, number 30 of the kicking team.
So you heard it there, James Martin for UNCP. And it looks like they'll just apply that to after the spot, and as I said, the Braves stopped the ball.
Receiving team, therefore the personal foul be administered as a post-scrimmage kick spot, half the distance from the end of the kick. First down.
So there you go. Just about to explain it, and Williams does it for me. Appreciate it. Wingate's offense taking their time to get out onto the field. They want to make sure that they have themselves set up. That makes more sense. Williams said kicking team. He meant receiving team. Penalty on that was on Samuel Hedda. He made an unnecessary tackle. That's why they've backed up Wingate half the distance to the goal. So it'll be 1st and 10 from Wingate's own 4. This one a give on the near side, picked up by Pittman. He escapes the pressure. He's in between the numbers, and he's popped out of bounds after a gain of about 16. Might be a late hit. T.Y. Hinton is limping off the field, getting away under his own power. It looks like Khalil Vance made the stop alongside Albert Wright, but as I said, there's a flag, and it could be a late hit as Lawrence Pittman picked up the first down.
Yes, it's about time!
It was on Tyreek Ramser. And you can hear the fans here at Wingate starting to get back into it. And yeah, T.Y. Hinton had pushed Pittman out of bounds already. Pittman was probably a step out of bounds, and Ramser went a little late when he tried to make that tackle. So it'll be 1st and 10 after the penalty in favor of Wingate, and that pushes them all the way up one play later to their own 42-yard line after being on their 4. 3:15 left to go in this third quarter. 21-17 Braves lead. Whitaker with the option, scoops it out to Pittman. He's hit in the backfield. He's trying to escape. The Braves drop him at the 35-yard line. Making a loss of 7 from Colton Weeks and Cameron Williams. And the Braves defense has really been doing it all today. Second and 17 after the fact. And they'll get it going now. Josh Mann's leading the way with 7 tackles. Colton Weeks, that was his 6th, to make him number 2 on the team today. Empty backfield for Whitaker. Doesn't scan too much and quickly slings it down to J.T. Stokes, or rather, that's Brian Mitchell. One of the leading receivers on this team, hasn't gotten many touches on a quick cut. Up the middle, he picks up about 5 yards. Mitchell leads the team in receiving yards this season, but that's only his 2nd touch today, and he's headed off the field. Might be attributed to his size. He's only 5'8", and that Pembroke defense is usually a little bigger than most of the offenses that they face, and those wide receivers might not get too many chances. Whitaker on this 3rd and 10 takes a 3-step drop back. He's looking up midfield once again. Well overthrown, no contact. Muckelveen called for the flag, finally got it well late. Might be a holding call. From the angle, it seemed to be that Muckelveen had escaped Dikembe Carney on the coverage, but could have been because of a hold. We'll just have to see. Most likely going against the Braves, though. Head referee David Quilliam still having a conversation with the back judge, Mark Watson, on this one. If it's against the Braves, it'll only be their 4th penalty today. Still no official word. Here's David Quilliams. Nope. Still back to his back judge. Since it was under 15 yards, it'll be a spot foul, but an automatic first down for Wingate and the Bulldogs. Tackling on to Jordan Howard, and 2 penalties this drive for the Braves have put Wingate over 50 yards. Now into Braves territory at their own 44-yard line. Pittman on the far side with the run, and he picks up another 10. Started to make it look easy before Chris Plotch brings him down. Plotch, one heck of a guy. Junior out of Apopka, Florida, one of 7 children. Went to Concordia St. Paul before joining the Braves, and the captain has been a great improvement to this team. 2nd and 1 after the gain of 9. In the shotgun with Pittman to his backside. Whitaker claps, has it, near side give, Pittman, off tackle, hit in the backfield, escapes it, and the Braves defensive line is slow to follow. Tajay Lyles tries to strip the ball, but Pittman holds on. Boy, oh boy, the defensive line was too slow on that style of play. Alpha Lamine was just standing there. Cyrus Stonback, too. They didn't expect Pittman to come his way. Sean Everett got in the backfield and made that first contact, but the defensive line just watched. 1st and 10. Now with the Braves' 28-yard line. We're in the final minute of this third quarter. Wingate threatening to take the lead. Pittman to his left side. Whitaker claps forward in the shotgun. He has it, chest high, fakes the give, play action pass. Airs it out downfield for a wide open Jake Jensen touchdown. Post route up the middle. The Braves got the Bulldogs to bite on that one earlier. And it burns them now here late in the third quarter. 23-21, Braves trail once again on a touchdown pass to Jake Jensen. Senior out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, played baseball, basketball, and football in high school. He's an all-around athlete, and he just showed why. PAT team out on the field now. Into attempt at Freddie McCollum. He's 2 for 2 on the day. The snapper is Mullis, the holder is Barozes. The snap is back, the ball is down, the kick is up, and the kick is good. Braves trail once again by 3, but could really benefit from momentum. We'll see if they have it when we come back right here on the UNCP Sports Network. (24-21) Braves trail following a 6-play, 95-yard drive spanning only 2 minutes and 58 seconds. But that drive was a little more attributed to the penalties that the Braves had given up to Wingate. A 15-yard personal foul from Tariq Ramsauer, and then a 14-yard pass interference penalty given to Jordan Howard. Both in that same drive, leading to, finally, the 26-yard touchdown pass to Jake Jensen. PAT was good, making it 24-21. End over end, Freddie McCollum's kick is on the way from left to right, picked up by Spann at his own 4-yard line. Taking it between the hash marks, now across the far side, and he's tackled at the 25. And brought down after a decent return, something that hasn't been seen much on the Brave side of the kicking team. DJ Crosby, the tackle for Wingate. And with 35 seconds left to go here in the third quarter, Braves could still put something on. It's been a back and forth game so far. Wingate put the first 2 touchdowns on the board. UNCP responded with 2 of their own. And in the closing 2 minutes of the second quarter, Wingate put up a 39-yard field goal off the foot of Freddie McCollum. It's been back and forth here in this second half. Here's a give on the far side, a sweep for Miles Grant, and he's met at the line of scrimmage, brought down for a loss of 1 at worst, no gain at best, and it'll keep the clock rolling into potentially the fourth quarter. Braves open the scoring here in the second half, a 25-yard touchdown pass to E.J. Williams after Braves forced a fumble in Wingate territory. Then James Whitaker, just a few moments ago, his 26-yard touchdown pass to Jake Jensen to put the game back in favor of Wingate. 5 seconds left to go in this third quarter. Dom Sampson will let time expire. We've reached the end of the third quarter. We'll step aside, be right back in just a few seconds, right here on the UNCP Sports Network. Start of the fourth quarter coming up here from Irwin Belk Stadium in Wingate, North Carolina. UNCP Braves and the Wingate Bulldogs are currently fighting it out. 24-21, UNCP trails as they look to break their 3-game losing streak and put a halt to Wingate's 4-game winning streak. The Braves offense could really use a decent drive in today's game. They've only averaged 58 rushing yards in their past 3 games, and they're not going to go for it again today. Dom Sampson trying to escape some pressure on an attempted play-action pass. Fights his way across the line of scrimmage for maybe a gain of about 2 on a 3rd and 9 play. That's not a good way to start a quarter, as the Braves will most likely have to bring out Isaac Parks. Or was it a 2nd and 9 play? My mistake. It was a 2nd and 9 play, make it 3rd and 6 after the fact. 14:35 left to go here in the ball game. Braves trail by only 3. But it seems to have been Wingate's 3rd quarter after the Braves were able to score first on a fumble. Split 2 on either side. Miles Grant, the running back for Dom Sampson. It's a low snap. He's looking for Grant on a screen pass, but instead tries for E.J. Williams. It's underthrown. Grant probably would have been a better target, as he was a little more open with some open space to attempt the first down. That'll bring up 4th down. And the Braves will have to bring out Isaac Parks as deep as they are in their own territory. 24-21 Braves trail. They have not really been able to accumulate large drives, and that's been one of the biggest issues throughout the past few games. The 4 longest drives for the Braves over the last 2 games, 2 of them ended in touchdowns, and those were the only 2 touchdowns the Braves scored in those 2 games, and the other 2 ended in turnovers. 1 on downs, 1 on interception. Parks gets the punt away in time. It'll bounce first at the 35 as Muckelveen watches it roll, and the Braves will pick it up at the Wingate 22-yard line. 14:04 left to go here in this ball game. Braves trail by only 3, and they could benefit from a defensive stop here. One of the things they really need to stop is the passing game. It's been an issue as Wingate has realized that the running game might not work so well. Jake Jensen has been all the way. 3 receptions, 77 yards. He does have his 1 touchdown, the 28-yard reception, but had a 48-yard grab earlier in the game. Whitaker out on the field now, ready to run his offense. Pittman behind him in the gun. Jensen, the tight end on the far side. 2 receivers on the far. The near side is empty. 4-man front incoming from the Braves. It's a give to Pittman on the far side off tackle. Splits through the line of scrimmage, but the Braves are able to get a handle on him, and Dom Davis is able to drag him down after a gain of about 4. Braves finally got a turnover earlier this game. Sean Everett's interception in the first quarter against Catawba was the last time the Braves had a turnover. Their 11 forced turnovers after that Catawba game were once 2nd in the entire nation, and that was their 12th forced turnover just early last quarter. 24-21 they trail. 13:34 left to go in this ball game. It's a give to Pittman up the gut, and he bounces off the pile, and a flag comes in after the play. Could be holding as Pittman gets brought down after a gain of about 6. Chalk that up to the linebacking core. Albert Wright with the tackle. We'll see what this laundry is for. Looks like it was thrown from the head referee, David Quilliams.
Holding. Offense number 82. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
So that's on Jensen, the tight end. He was lined up on the right side where that ran went. Honestly surprised that David Quilliams saw that one. Such a massive pile, but good officiating. 24-21 as that favors the Braves. It makes it to 2nd and 16. 13 minutes left to go in this ball game. Braves a chance for a stunning upset of one of only 20 undefeated teams left in the country. In the gun is Whitaker. Pittman to his left side. Pittman motions, and an early snap. That'll be 5 yards. Which way is it going, though? Seems to be the Braves don't want to take any unnecessary steps yet. Let's see.
Oh, sorry. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
So nothing to worry about if you're a Braves fan. Austin May, the left tackle for Wingate, made the miscue, and that pushes them back another 5. So make it 2nd and 21 now. 15 yards of penalties on Wingate this single set of downs. Under 13 minutes left to go in this game. In the shotgun, Whitaker, 3-step drop, but he's taking it himself on a delayed draw. Has an opening across the 15. Between the numbers, he's hit at the legs and brought down That time by the Braves, Tyreek Ramsow, the redshirt freshman out of Shelby, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte. 12:30 left to go in this matchup, and the Braves make it third and still fairly long. 13 to be exact. B.J. Muckelveen out on the field now, took that play off. You can only assume we've got a pass coming in, and Muckelveen could be a quick target. You got Jensen and Muckelveen each with 3 receptions tonight. Whitaker scanning, hit, dropped in the backfield. Braves make the play. T.Y. Hinton, after exploding last week at Newberry for 3 sacks, picks up his 6th on the year. The line gave him time, but Whitaker couldn't find anybody. And you gotta think that maybe, just maybe, the muggy, foggy conditions could contribute to the way this game is going. Burroughs is out to punt. He's 2 yards shy of the back of his own end zone. JoJo Spann is set to return. He's at his own 44. Burroughs has it, steps up, gets it away. Spann backing up on it, signals, and he's going to return it. Backs up across midfield as he hauls it in at the 48. He steps out of bounds. Tried to sidestep a man between the numbers, but just wasn't able to get much out of it. Pressure on the play made by Davion Washington, the defensive back. Either way, the Braves have field position inside Wingate's side of the field. Big opportunity for the Braves. They can eat some clock, take the lead, and with a defensive stop could potentially put it away. But that's still 11 minutes and 13 seconds left to go before any of that can come to fruition. 24-21, Braves trail. Brian Staten, the running back. Dom Sampson in the shotgun. It's a reverse. Given to Williams, back to Spann. He's got an opening and blockers. They attempted the jet sweep, and Spann has the first down across the 40 on the far sideline. That was much better ran than the way the Bulldogs went with it just a few plays ago. They tried to get it to B.J. Muckelveen, but Muckelveen didn't have the speed as Spann did. Spann was tackled on the play by Robbie Wallace, and he picked up about 11 yards on that one. Make it 1st and 10 for the Braves at the Bulldogs' 36-yard line. 10:44 left to go in this ball game. UNCP trails by only 3. Here comes the pressure. Sampson quickly slings it downfield. It's overthrown. Intended for Quaythreet. As once again, this fog could be playing a pretty decent factor in some of these downfield passes. I hate to admit it, but it's something I gotta say is that from our vantage point and from the condensation forming on the windows here at the press box, it's hard to even see that corner of the field. Took me a second to identify Threet. So make it 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Play clock winding down, still in double digits though, as it just now cycles back into 9 seconds. 10:30 left to go in this ballgame. In the shotgun with Sheridan providing blockage. It's a quick screen. It's picked up on the far side. Sheridan still on his feet. He's across to the 25 and tapped out of bounds after he picks up the first down. It's getting hard to even see the ball at this point from our vantage point, but we've got some distance from the field, so hopefully the teams themselves aren't having the same issues. 10:17 left to go in this ball game. The Braves are knocking on the door of the red zone in an attempt to retake the lead. UNCP is 92% this season when they've made it into the red zone. 9 touchdowns, 3 field goals on 13 trips. Exactly 10 minutes to go. 1st and 10 from the Bulldogs' 24. Braves trail by 3. Sampson to pass. 3-step drop. It goes far side quickly. Tipped, and was it picked off? It's picked off. Wingate has it. Hard to see from this side of the field. It was tipped away, and Matthew Ellis White made the play. First turnover of the game for the Braves, and couldn't have come at a worse time. First pick of the year for the redshirt freshman out of Stone Mountain, Georgia. Sampson was trying to find Aaron Whitaker for what would have been only his 3rd reception of the year, but Ellis White made an athletic play diving in to pull it away. With 9:45 left to go in the 4th quarter, The Braves defense really needs another big stop now.
Receiver was down on the ground when he made the catch. First down, Wingate.
So that was just the official clarifying on where the spot was after the interception, as Ellis White came down with it and had his knee down when he made the catch. Either way, we swap sides. James Whitaker in the gun, the give to Pittman, bouncing off the near side tackle. He has an opening and some blockers to the 30, the 35, cuts back to the 40, in between the number and the hash, and he steps out of bounds. Defense finally got to him after a long run. Albert Wright, the stop. But Pittman is bringing life back into his team and this crowd. Cut through 1, 2, make it 4 different defenders as the senior picks up a first down and marches into just outside, I should say, UNCP territory. 1st and 10 from the Bulldogs 45. We've got a snap, a whistle, and a dead play. So the Braves get a lucky break. So that's on JT Stokes, maybe getting a little too excited after Lawrence Pittman's shockingly electric play. They'll take him off. They bring on Mason Flynn, tight end redshirt freshman out of High Point, North Carolina. So make it 1st and 15. The clock continues to run, and it's been a point of reference throughout this game that Wingate knows how to keep the ball on the ground and manage the clock in their favor. They had that game against Fayetteville State in which they had 40 minutes of possession time. They averaged this year with just over 33. Leads the South Athletic Conference. Run up the gut. Doesn't materialize. Lawrence Pittman couldn't get anything there. Lawrence Pittman has another 100-yard gain under his belt after that big gain of 22 earlier. 124 total yards. With 8.5 minutes left to go, they hope to get it to him more and more, but this one they line him up as a receiver on the far side. Empty backfield for Whitaker. Down the play clock, 8:24 left in this ball game. Whitaker, a 3-step drop, and a quick pass, tipped up and away, nearly intercepted by Nathan London, holds his head in his hands as the Braves nearly got it back. The junior out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, was a state champion in wrestling in high school. Just didn't have the hands, didn't have the reaction time, but forces 3rd down either way. 3rd and 13. 8:19 left to go in this ball game. Braves trail by 3. Pittman, the running back, in the gun. Whitaker looking to pass, though. Time in the pocket, slings it upfield, and stepping too far behind it is Jay Hood. He had daylight in front of him. Would have been a first down, but now it's 4th and 13. Braves catch a break. Roses coming out onto the field, and with all the issues we saw special teams-wise in the first half, the Braves would really like to benefit from one right now. JoJo Spann is back to return for UNCP. 8:14 left to go in this ball game as the Braves trail by 3. Roses, a face-eye snap. He gets it away as the Braves come in. Could be a flag, as it looks like a Brave slid into Baroses as he lost his footing. The ball comes down at the 4-yard line where it's stopped by Wingate, and either way, this might be a free set of downs for the Wingate offense. David Williams, the head referee, having a conversation about this one. Let's see.
Turning into the kicker, number 35 of the defense. A penalty is declined. Go for the play. First down.
So inside the 5-yard line was the punt. So Wingate will rather hedge their bet and try and go for a big defensive stop, see if they can get back some of that field position that they would have lost. Or maybe even go for a safety. But Kembe Carney was the culprit on that penalty. Either way, it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Braves at the 5-yard line. Believe me, me. If I was Wingate, you know you'd want to be asking for that penalty to be enforced after the kick. Back them up half to the 2.5-yard line. Either way, it doesn't happen. Sampson in the gun. Give quickly on the near side. Brian Staten, the running back. He bobbles through. He's still on his feet. Somehow puts a hand down and drags himself ahead for about 3 more. What a play. Went between both hash marks to find himself a gain of about 7 before he's finally dragged down. Looked to be by Nick Vigneault. Band getting into it. The fans getting a little rowdy. 7:40 left to go in this ball game. It is a nail-biter. Braves looking to upset as they only trail by 3. 2nd and 2. 4-man front incoming. They set up a cornerback now as well. Staten off guard. Does he have the first down? Only got about a yard. Needed 2. They move the chains. Big time play from the big time junior out of Greenville, North Carolina. Lettered in wrestling and track and field back in high school. Came into this season, not too many touches. 25 carries in his past 2 years combined with 118 yards. Coming into today's game, had 8 carries with 54 yards, and he's already the leading rusher in today's matchup. That being his 24th yard on the ground on only his 3rd touch. They keep him in. 1st and 10 for the Braves, single digits on the play clock. Sampson, the give to Staten, up the gut, only about 3 yards. You can only do that so many times, though, in the presence of clock management, because the Braves, at the end of the day, need to score. They trail 24-21 with 6:30 left to go in this ball game. And there's still a hefty amount of football field in front of them. They're at their own 20. Sampson, a 3-step drop to pass. Pressure, but he escapes it. He's going to take it himself with an opening in the line. He slides at the 35-yard line and picks up the first down.
Up to the 36-yard line, 1st and 10, UNCP.
Dom Sampson making his feet known once again. Came into today's game with only 59 yards on the ground. Most of them coming in the game against Tusculum. But he's finally getting back onto the ground. 17 yards of that run. Phenomenal. 1st and 10 for the Braves. Sampson brought his team to its own 36. 5:43 left to go in this ball game. It's an empty backfield for the redshirt freshman. 4-man front incoming from Wingate. Sampson claps, 2-step drop back. There's pressure immediately. He's hit, he escapes it, rolls out to the far side, looks, slings it, caught to the 50, across his span, and gets pulled down after a decent gain. Good enough for a first down, though. Sampson's scrambling ability is catching up, but we've got cheering from the near side. Is there a flag on the field somewhere? As I said, it's much too muggy, foggy, and just hard to see from the press box and the windows up here for us to tell if there was a flag, and we're having to rely some of this on the monitor they provide us in the press box. The clock is stopped. There's a conversation between the officials. So there was a conversation, understandably so, on whether or not Dom Sampson had crossed the line of scrimmage before throwing that pass. The official said no, and the fans disagree with them. Watching the replay on this monitor, it doesn't seem to be, but who knows? We could be wrong, as I've said. The weather conditions here at Irwin Belk Stadium are less than ideal. Sampson has an empty backfield, 1st and 10 from midfield. Slings it up, caught by E.J. Williams on a cut, and he slides across the 45 and steps out of bounds at the 42 in Bulldog territory. Won't be enough for a first down, but a good gain nonetheless, as that's Williams' 5th reception of the day, puts him at the 60-yard mark. 5 minutes left to go in this ball game. The Braves want to eat as much clock as they can before they finally make an attempt at the end zone. 2nd and 2 at the 42. The offensive line goes down. Josh Sheridan finally back in the game as our running back. Sampson looking to pass with Sheridan, an extra blocker. Heaving it downfield. Caught at the 5 to the end zone. Touchdown, Braves! sidelines erupt for JoJo Spann, his second touchdown of the day. 144 yards for the senior out of McDonough, Georgia. Puts the Braves on top, 27-24. The Bulldogs defense will make their voices heard on that play. But it seems to be they're falling on deaf ears as the officiating crew is letting the Braves line up for the PAT. 4:33 left to go in this ball game. Braves now lead by 3 in an attempted 4 here. Richardson the snapper, Foley the holder, and Alex Alvarado is 3 for 3 on the day. The snap is back, the ball is down, the kick is up, and the kick is good. 28-24, Braves lead. 4:33 left to go in this ball game. We'll step aside, catch our breath. When we come back, we've got the conclusion of this exciting matchup right here on the UNCP Sports Network. UNCP's got an upset in their mind. 28-24, they lead. One of only 20 undefeated teams left in the nation. The 4-0 Wingate Bulldogs with 4:33 left to go in this ball game. A 7-play, 95-yard drive capped off by a 42-yard touchdown pass from Dom Sampson to JoJo Spann, making it 28-24. Nate Williams ready to go from left to right. He pooches it, end over end. It'll bounce first at the 30-yard line before Don McNeil picks it up, has a hole, but bumps into his own blocker and falls down at the 35-yard line. Could have been a much worse look for the Braves before McNeil went away with it. Matter of fact, that wasn't McNeil, that was Adam Riley, the second. 4:28 left to go in this ball game, and this is a conundrum for Wingate. They're a running team, tried and true, it's well known. Jake Jensen leading the way receiving-wise with 77 yards, but he hasn't had a touch this quarter. Lawrence Pittman has been doing it all. 22 carries, 126 yards on the ground, but how much do you keep it on the ground with a deficit and only 4:28 left to go in this ballgame? Field goal won't do it either. Pittman, the give on the near side, off guard, splits a defender after shedding one, and he's across midfield. Shoved out of bounds finally by Tyreek Ramsauer. This is exactly how the last series started for Wingate.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's another Bulldog.
Braves were able to force a punt on the last drive thanks to a penalty and a pair of sacks, but they could really do it here again. 1st and 10 from the Braves now, 45. Pittman off the far side guard. The line of scrimmage gobbles him up. Tackle on the play made by Dom Davis, the sophomore out of nearby Laurinburg, North Carolina. 28-24, Braves lead. Each team with all 3 timeouts as Pittman looks to be coming off the field now. Just shy of 150 yards on the day for the senior. Was on the team the last time these two faced. Was a true freshman. Had 20 yards on 9 carries. This one a give on the near side to his backup, Blake Hayes, but the line of scrimmage is where he's going to stop. Alex Richardson, T.Y. hitting the stop for UNCP. Think about that, though. Last time these two teams met, Pittman was a young freshman, had 20 carries for 9 yards. Today he's got 24 carries for 150 yards. That just shows you something about growth. 28-24. We're at the 3-minute mark of this one. Both sides getting a little bit rowdy. Hayes, the running back. Whitaker puts his receiver in motion in Bledsoe. Rolling out to the right side, whipping it downfield. It's caught by McElveen, who slides at the 30-yard line, good for a first down. The motion from Bledsoe brought the defense off guard a little bit as Bledsoe went downfield and McElveen took an earlier hook.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That was a lot of motion for a simple passing play, and clearly the Braves weren't expecting it. Good enough for a first down. It puts Wingate at the door of field goal range, but they trail by 4. In the gun is Whitaker. 2:20 left to go. Give on the near side, off tackle, hit in the backfield is Pittman. He's back in the game. Brought down as he bounces around the pile and fights his way for a gain of about 5, as a matter of fact. Defense could have followed through with that one a little bit better, but either way, it's second down. The clock continues to roll. We're coming up on 2 minutes now, and that initial run by Lawrence Pittman on the first play of this drive for 20 yards to the Braves' 45-yard line is looking to be the game changer. In the gun. Far side is empty of receivers. This one a give to Pittman on the near side tackle. One juke and he's off to the races, but barely hit at the 25. Escapes it, makes it to the 15-yard. Another set of downs for Wingate. They have all 3 timeouts. The Braves at this point, as Wingate burns their first timeout, might be a little well suited to see how their clock management can work, as they've never really been in this sort of situation this year. They could find themselves in a overcomable deficit with minutes waning in the ballgame. What do you do in a situation like that? We've seen things go like this before in the Braves' favor and against them, but usually not at the end of the game, closer towards the halves when they've been a little more in it. How will they manage the clock is going to be the question if they're not able to make a stop on this play. They're going to have, at most, with the way that Wingate has been running the ball, about 1:20. And that's if Wingate is to score on most likely the next play. Either way. Folks, a quick word from our sponsors. When UNC Pembroke athletes train and compete, Scotland Healthcare System will be part of the team as the official healthcare provider for UNCP athletics. Led by Ortho Carolina Scotland orthopedic physician Dr. Richard Alexander, their specialists will cover every football and men's basketball game. From practice drills to kickoff and tip-off, Scotland's medical experts will oversee training staff operations. It's more than one way Scotland Healthcare is keeping its commitment to be there for the region by delivering closer care that's better by far. We're back on the field after the timeout. Whitaker in the gun. Pittman to his right side. It's a passing play deep to the far side of the end zone. Airborne. Caught. Touchdown. Wingate. Jay Hood, his 3rd of the season. The sophomore out of Lancaster, South Carolina, drills the knife into the Braves' heart. Makes it 30-28. 13-yard touchdown pass from James Whitaker. So we've been going back and forth now. The Braves will have at most 1.5 minutes with all 3 timeouts to make an attempt at it. And to attempt the PAT, Freddie McCullum. Perfect on the day. The snapper is Mullis. The holder is Barozis. The snap is back. The ball is down. The kick is up. And the kick is good. So that makes it a 3-point game. Braves don't have to worry as much about a field goal or as much about a touchdown. They only need to worry about the field goal. We'll see how they fare when we come back after a few short seconds right here on the UNCP Sports Network. that crowd speaks for itself. 7-play, 65-yard drive spanning 2 minutes and 59 seconds for Wingate. They got the ball with 4:30 left to go in this ball game, trailing by 4, and they were able to retake the lead. 14-yard touchdown pass to Jay Hood from James Whitaker, capping off a 7-play, 65-yard drive to make it 31-28. So out comes Freddie McCullum. From right to left, he'll kick it away. As the ball set up where he likes it on the near hash of the 35-yard line. Back to return are Devin Jones and JoJo Spann. And we've got officials signaling something, saying to reset the play clock. So nothing too serious. McCullum is ready to go. His line set, his steps, he's on the way. End over end, the ball, fairly deep one. Picked up though by Davis at his own 8. He's hit at the 15 and dropped. He was going one-on-one with Noah Marsh, the redshirt freshman linebacker, and Marsh had a beat on him. Braves will have to march 85 yards downfield in 1:28 to score a touchdown. Won't need to necessarily drive as far to get into Alex Avardo's field goal range. They'll only need to drive about 50 yards to do that. Make it about 60. Make yourself comfortable. It'll be 1st and 10. Sampson quickly looking to pass. No, it's a delayed handoff on the draw to Miles Grant. He bounces off a couple of defenders, and he's hit after a gain of about 5. They'll whistle it play on forward progress. Zach Singleton the stop alongside Cam Johnson, the linebacker and the cornerback, contributing on that. But the clock continues to run. It was a running play. The Braves are moving fast now. We're at 1:08 left to go in this ball game. Low snap. Sampson quickly slings it out to the far side. It's bounced off of the hands of JoJo Spann. He stares at it, dumbfounded, confused as to why that one didn't go his way. A flag in the backfield could go in favor of the Braves. 1:02 left to go in this ball game. Braves trail by 3. Here's David Quilliams. He's waiting for a confirmation on this call first. Let's see. Braves are trotting back. This could be holding. Matter of fact, not holding, a chop block. How often do you see that these days? Tay Vereen, along with Miles Grant, being called on that. So it'll be 2nd and 15 for the Braves. 1:02 left to go in this ball game. They only need to get into McCullum's field, or not McCullum, Alvarado's field goal range to attempt a tie. Take it to overtime. Sampson has it. Low snap, but he recovers. Under pressure, he's hit. He's trying to escape it. Tries to hand it off to Miles Grant. Did he lose the ball? Someone came down with it. Sampson and Grant neither held it, while a pile formed outside of Sampson's reach. That ball came loose. Who came up with it? Looked to be the strip was made by Cal Hanford, the sophomore defensive lineman out of New Bern, North Carolina. What's going to be the call on this one?
By number 7 of the offense, timeout. UNCP, first choice timeout of the half.
So Sampson had it and he was down. So they whistled him down. Or did he throw it? He threw it. Either way, Braves ball, 3rd and 15. So no gain on the play. 4th quarter, 47 seconds left. Braves take their first time out of the game. But they're running out of options with 47 seconds and a deficit of 3. Folks, Lumbee River Electric Membership Corporation belongs to the members it serves. That means their members have a say in how their co-op is run. Doesn't that sound good? 4 values are the foundation of Lumbee River EMC's service to its members: innovation, commitment to community, accountability, and integrity. These values represent the cooperative difference in how our co-op earns the trust of members every day. 3rd and 19 after the loss for UNCP. in the shadow of the brand new video board Wingate's put up. In the foggy lights covering Irwin Belk Stadium. Only the second game played under darkness in this stadium's history. Sampson rolling out in the near side of his own end zone. Slings it downfield, and a fantastic catch by Corey West. Or no, E.J. Williams. Slides out of bounds with it just across the 20-yard line. Should be enough for a first down, hopefully enough, but there's some laundry in the end zone. That could be going against the Braves and could potentially be holding. Hard to see a lot of what's going on with the descended fog on Irwin Belk Stadium. So roughing the passer on Wingate. Braves catch a massive break. So after Cal Hanford made that strip, he runs into Dom Sampson about a half second or so after Sampson had already released the ball. The fans here are not happy about it. And from the end of that run at the 20-yard line, it pushes the Braves up 15 extra yards. Around the 20-yard line, it pushes the Braves up 15 extra yards, now to the 37. So they made a little extra progress and gotten out of the shadow of their own end zone, but there's still only 39 seconds left to go. They need to move. Sampson, time in the pocket. A little bit of pressure comes on him, and he throws it downfield. Caught at the 45-yard line. Quay Threet hauls it in and falls to the 40. Braves with 2 timeouts left. The clock will stop to move the chains. Now it keeps going. Braves are set up. Sampson a low snap. Quick on the near side, overthrown of JoJo Spann. Clock stops at 21 seconds. Alex Alvarado, his career long as a young freshman, is only 46 yards. I say only. As a high school senior, he was only from 28 yards out. Really gained a little bit of muscle when he came to college. But they're still not in his range yet. It'd be a 58-yard attempt if they tried here. 57, actually. Sampson has it with 21 seconds left in the game. Steps up under pressure. Throws it as he's hit. It's incomplete. Head coach of the Bulldogs, Joe Reich, is calling for intentional grounding, but the line judge says no. So it'll be 3rd and 10. The Braves catch another break, as the criteria for intentional grounding weren't met. As Pembroke takes their second charge timeout of the half. 15 seconds remaining. They trail by 3. 3rd and 10. They're still outside the range of Alex Alvarado. Officiating crew having some issues on what number timeout this is for UNCP. Either way, it's their second. So the Braves with 1 left. 15 seconds to use it if they want to. But they're still not inside Alex Alvarado's kicking range. They'd want to get to at least the 30. And if they did, that would make a new career long for him. 31-28. It's been back and forth this entire half. Braves opened up the scoring with a 25-yard pass to E.J. Williams. Wingate responded with a 26-yarder of their own. Braves scored in the 4th quarter on a beautiful 42-yard strike to JoJo Spann. In a 3-minute drive with a minute and a half left to go in the game, James Whitaker and the Bulldogs scored one final time to put them up by 3. Braves with a chance. 3rd and 10, 15 seconds left to go. They trail by 3. Sampson, 3-step drop, looking to the near side under pressure. Fires it, incomplete. Off the hands of Shamon Hicks. No flags on the field. He was wide open for that one. It was just a little too far to his left side. Tried to slide forward. It's 4th and 10 with 10 seconds left to go. This will be the play of the game. Braves trail by 3. Play clock down to 20. Game clock at 10. Braves trying to break a 3-game winning streak and knock off one of the undefeated teams left in the country. Sampson has it. Chest high snap. 3-step drop. Time in the pocket. He's hit as he throws to the end zone. JoJo Span bobbles. Incomplete. No flag. Game over. 3 seconds remaining on a 4th and 10. It had the forearms of the senior wide receiver, but under double coverage, he wasn't able to make the play. With 2 touchdowns on the day and 144 receiving yards. It went off his left shoulder just ever so slightly. Josh Shelton and Matthew Ellis White on the double coverage. You can assume that Ellis White, along with his interception, might be getting tonight's game ball. Span was just a little slow on the turn, and with 3 seconds left to go in this ball game, it'll just be one knee and the game put away from James Whitaker. The Braves come so close to knocking off one of only 20 undefeated teams left in the nation, but they aren't able to pull it off. 31-28 tonight's final. Braves fall here in Wingate, North Carolina. We'll step aside, be right back in just a few seconds right here on the UNCP Sports Network. Back from Orwin Belk Stadium for one final time here on the UNCP Sports Network. Matt Sabat is with you for a quick post-game wrap-up of tonight's match. 31-28, Braves fall in a nail-biter to the best team in the South Athletic Conference this season, the Wingate Bulldogs. Wingate now 5-0 on the year. They were only one of 20 undefeated teams left entering this week. We'll see how many other teams hold on to that title. Obviously, there are a couple there up top that will not lose, but Wingate is one of only 20 to hold on. They've won 6 of their last 7 dating back to last season. One of the few times, or one of only 3 times in program history that they've started a year 5-0. It's the first season since 2015 in which they do that, but that year they went 1-5 the rest of the way, and Bulldogs missed the playoffs that season. They lead the Braves now 6-4 all-time in the series. Braves now 1-5 on the year. Losing streak extended 4 games, and that's only happened now twice in program history in that 2-8 season in 2014, the only other time. At this point now, the Braves can only hope to be 500 because they're not able to pick up a winning season for only the 4th time in program history. Tonight's players of the game, I mentioned in pregame show, one to watch, JoJo Span. He really lived up to my expectations. 8 receptions, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He could have had another big one. Could have made it 3 touchdowns, 180 yards, but can't live on what-ifs a lot of the time. The Braves fall, and James Whitaker is the player of the game for Wingate. Quarterback was 15 for 24 through the air, 184 yards passing. Didn't throw a single interception and found 3 different receivers for touchdowns. Jay Hood twice, and then Jake Jensen once. The drive of the game, the last scoring drive for Wingate, in which they went 7 plays in 95 yards, or 65 yards rather, in 7 plays in 2 minutes, 59 seconds, capped off by the touchdown pass from Whitaker to Jay Hood for 14 yards to put Wingate up for good. Final stat lines from both sides for this game. Braves offense, Dom Sampson was 19 for 30. 217 yards through the air with 4 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Midway through the fourth quarter, JoJo Spann led the way receiving-wise. As we mentioned, behind him was E.J. Williams, 6 receptions for 82 yards and a pair of touchdowns after that. Quay 3, Josh Sheridan, Brian Staten, Corey West, and Miles Grant all had a reception of their own. On the ground, Brian Staten led the way with 4 carries for 27 yards. Josh Sheridan didn't get a touch in the second half, but he came in second with 4 carries for 23 yards. Miles Grant got the most carries, 7 of them, but was only able to garner 18 yards on the ground. For Wingate, we mentioned Whitaker's passing yards already today. Jake Jensen led the way with 3 receptions for 77 yards. Those all came in the first half, while B.J. Muckelveen had 3 catches for 40 yards. Jay Hood, 2 receptions, 22 yards, both of them for touchdowns. Then Malik Bledsoe, Brian Mitchell, Blake Hayes, J.T. Stokes, and Adam Riley II all had a reception of their own. Defensively, leading the way for the Braves was Chris Plotch again. He's had a fantastic season, tacked on 9 more tackles, and had a tackle for loss to go with it. Robbie Wallace, I said to keep an eye out for him coming into this game, put on 15 tackles to add to his now team-leading 45 on the year. Had 2 total tackles for loss as well. Jordan Howard had a sack in the backfield, as did Khalil Vance and T.Y. Hinton. And the Braves only allowed 1 sack. That was to Cal Hanford, but it was late in that fourth quarter during that final drive when the Braves were attempting to march downfield. Nearly a fumble recovered by Wingate, but the Braves were able to hold on to it. So that's the final today. 31-28 Braves fall. Catawba and the Indians will be the next opponent for the Wingate Bulldogs. They head to Salisbury, North Carolina next week for a 1:30 kickoff against Catawba and the Indians. Next week for the Braves, they get the week off. It's their bye week. They'll have the Concord Mountain Lions in Athens, West Virginia. That's in 2 weeks with a noon kickoff. Again, Athens, West Virginia will be the site. Noon will be the time 2 weeks from now against the Concord Mountain Lions to see if the Braves can try and break this now 4-game losing streak. 31-28 your final tonight as the Braves fall to the Wingate Bulldogs. I'd like to thank you so much for joining me on what was honestly a phenomenally exciting game. This has been Matt Sabatis for the UNCP Sports Network saying have a fantastic night, ladies and gentlemen, and get home safely.